How's it going, everybody? Here we go. The first show in the New York studio. Well, I guess official one with me now living in New York. I am back. I am live. John Rocha is back with me, not in New York, but of course in lovely sunny San Diego. And John and I will be talking about a lot of different things here today, man. And as you saw in the opening or for the thumbnail, the Acolyte, Star Wars, it was anticipated for a lot of different people. Well, it seems like critics love it. And it seems like the audience doesn't. Now, I know that some people and then suggest maybe it's bots that are doing the audience score. I don't know about that. When you get like a 15%, I mean, I'm not telling you there's some people that just disliking it to dislike it. That's probably true. But there's a disconnect here. There's a disconnect. Maybe John doesn't agree. I don't know. But we'll talk about that. We are going to discuss House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 1, that just came out. So we'll talk about that. Week 2 of the box office coming back because Inside Out 2 destroyed. And we'll talk about that also. We got Skeleton Crew news. There's other things. James Gunn's talking a little bit more DCU stuff, all that and more. So we hope that you guys are hitting that button, subscribe to the channel. We have, like, as you see, the prison wall is gone. That is all. You see all that in the background? You want to give credit to Brett? No, not this time. That's right. I finally got my wife to do it. My wife did this, and she did 1,000 times better than I would ever do. It would just be things smacked up there with tape and whatnot. But hit that button. Thanks for being part of it. We're excited. And as always, we're doing the super chats like we do every Monday. We'll go through all the topics. So I see people already throwing them in there. Whatever you want to ask. You want to talk about the New York studio? You want to talk about Game of Thrones? You want to talk about the Acolyte? Throw it in there, whatever it is. So it's myself. It is John Rocha. Let's get into it, everybody. Here we go. I don't think I have a logo. I didn't do my. I do. That's true. Is right? Yeah, I do. Look at me. Just like that. All right. Now, thanks for joining me. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. I want to bring in the one and only John Rocha. It's like deja vu.
Wow. Happy Father's Day. Happy post-Father's Day.
Thank you. I mean, it's so funny. I had this conversation with myself before, but what I was saying, and you had your commentary. I had an opportunity to go. My uncle, and my whole family, they invited us to this beach club that they are part of. We went there, and my wife was talking about it was like the 1950s, and we had this feel. The kids were swimming around the pool, and I had a bagel this morning, a slice of pizza the other day. It's going good, John. I'm enjoying it.
It's nice, man. It's nice to make a change of pace, and it's comfortable, and you're near family. That's a good thing, man. Yeah,
it is.
I'm happy for you.
The weather, even though I saw that Ed Haskell's in here, and he sends me this tweet, and he says, he goes, "Oh, you're bringing the heat wave with you." And 100 it's going to be like 100 degrees here tomorrow, humidity. So, but nonetheless, we're getting seasons and all that. So it's exciting to be back, and I'm glad that we are back. But this is, I was so excited right before we started, because for people, you may or may not see it. I might not be able to edit it out, but for some reason we didn't have sound for John in this other program I was using. I've got to figure it out, but I was so excited with myself because before we started, I had this whole shot where you'd be able to see. Well, you probably be able to still see me through the news, just not through John. So, I'll show you guys like what I worked on before. I'm excited about this. Is like the news shot. Yeah, you'll just have me, because someone suggested this in the audience that I should do this, and that way when I'm reading stuff out, you'll see me. Well, so, and then for now, we'll just have to do it this way. It's not too bad. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so we have the super chats. I see people are already asking that, but we got tons to. How was your weekend, by the way?
Well, it was good. Just busy. We went car shopping for 2 days straight. Look, if any of your people are listening and work for Kia dealerships, will you all DM me if you're a businessman or sales manager, if you're a salesperson, because we spent 6 hours the other day just going through all the stupid motions of waiting 20 to 30 minutes before they came in the office and haggling the price down. Like, if any of you were there who work for a Kia sale or know a friend who works for Kia, have them hook me up, DM me. Let's have a conversation. I want to cut out the middleman, get to the point, and have some good faith negotiations, because that was a waste of 6 hours for them to try to screw us at the end. So it kind of, the Saturday was kind of ruined. So on Sunday, we just kind of laid around. I watched the US Open. She worked on her photography, and it was a good day Sunday, but Saturday was just a wash, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in that position pretty soon.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, John, we got a lot to talk about, man, because there was tons of news.
Yeah.
And I think we just go right off the bat. Let's get to the first story here.
Okay.
And that, of course, is it seems like huge disconnect with the Acolyte in regards to both critics and the audience. There's this big article that I read this morning about it on Dark Horizons, and we will discuss. Now it says Acolyte bad reviews target wrong films. Now this is new Star Wars series, The Acolyte. It sits at 84% positive amongst critics on Rotten Tomatoes, but a disastrously low 15% with audiences. The story is similar on IMDb. 47,000 votes have resulted in a 3.6 out of 10 score, with 54.8 of those votes being a 1 out of 10 score. The most recent episode in particular has scored just a 3.4 out of 10, with 61% of scores being 1 out of 10. While plenty of people legitimately don't like the series, such skewed scores would suggest potential review bombing might be going on, but is there any way to prove it? Possibly, according to SFF Gazette, as it has been revealed, completely separate works with similar titles are suddenly being inundated with plenty of bad reviews many years later.
Yeah.
The outlet indicates the 2008 Australian horror film Acolytes, a film which generally had poor reviews anyway, has suddenly seen its audience score fall even further, due to an influx of 1-star reviews calling the Joel Edgerton and Michael Dorn-led feature an affront to Star Wars. The critical aggregate site has cleaned up that film section, purging those reviews, but screencasts of the reviews came up on X. A Star Wars fan film from 2022 titled The Acolyte, a Star Wars fan film, has also seen a huge star of 1-star reviews. As CBM points out, Rotten Tomatoes has attempted to stop review bombing in the past with films, as users of the site needed to show a verified ticket purchase in order to share their verdict. TV, though, no equivalent way to enforce such rules. Okay, I have a different I have mixed views on this, because do I think that there are some review bombs, and is clearly from that what they just read that it seems like people are just coming to say, well, The Acolyte, so I hate this show, and they're bombing the wrong thing by accident. But I'm telling you, man, I've spoken to, as I always use, friends of that are not in our industry, that don't have one point of a political view at all. And I talked to them about this show, and some of the hardcore Star Wars fans that I talked to were like, I have no interest in this show. The stuff that I've read, I don't care. Another person was like, I was interested, and I turned it on. Not for me. Didn't bash it. Just said, not for me. Talked to someone else who watched a scene the other day and said, I didn't believe this was Star Wars. I turned it off after episode 2.
Right.
And I feel, and I think you and I feel the same way. 1 and 2 are like, I don't know where this show is going. I don't know. The third episode, and everyone's like, oh, you thought this episode was good? I said it was the best one out of the 3. I in my opinion, do I think it's a good series? I don't. If I was reviewing this on Rotten Tomatoes, now people still don't realize how Rotten Tomatoes works. Let's take the review potential bombing out of it. Do I think that this, because in Rotten Tomatoes, anything 3 out of 5 is considered fresh. Anything under 3 out of 5. So if you give something a 2.9, if you're like, it's just not there for me, that's a rotten review. I think this is under a 3.5 for me. So I would be part of that. Well, I would actually be lower on the critic score if I gave it. If I'm going on an audience score, I'd be part of the majority that says this is a 12 or 15% or whatever it is. So they don't think it's a 3 out of 5 show. Where do you stand?
It's as you said, I think it's really complicated, and in this way, because of what you just said right now is a good example. Like, you asked people, and they were like, "Oh, it's not my jam." But how many of them that, like you said, that are out of the mainstream are actually going to take the time to go onto Rotten Tomatoes and go, "This show sucks," or "It's not good," or "I don't like it"? There's not a lot of people that are actively trying to destroy Oh, I'm sorry. There's not active people who are like indifferent about the show or it's not their jam, who are actually going to take the time to write these reviews and try to destroy it. I do think there's quite a number of people who are trying to review bomb it and destroy it. And look, just from if you go on any of these reviews and see how many people are just dropping vitriolic reviews that are just or comments rather under those reviews that are absolutely going after this show. Like I had a guy I went back and forth with today this morning who called it the dumpster fire, gay trash, and these kinds of inflammatory rhetoric around the show. And I think those are the people that are taking the time to create extra accounts because they're driven by whatever anger is inside of them to create multiple accounts to drive the score down. I actually don't think it's like a minority. I do think it's quite a number of people. That being said, though, there's a difference, and I want people to hear this. There's a nuance. There are people that have legitimate criticisms about the show. You and I have talked about it. There's pacing issues. There's acting issues. There's definitely writing issues. There's overall construction issues. And so there is valid criticism of the show to be had. And I don't think people actually valid criticism are turning around and creating accounts that are going after this film or a show rather, and going crazy about the show and being so upset about it.
Can you say, but don't you think that that's a mixture of both? Because I see people, there's some dopey comments already in here, and I got it. And the same thing, it's like I have to, when I review,
no surprise.
But when I review things, I always say it like this. Like I've said, I've watched this show. It's not, this show is not for me. I don't think there's a lot of things that are
right.
Seem like CW.
I agree.
Adult, and those, and I give and someone said, "Why can't you just admit that it sucks?" Because it's like you say that. That's for me. I'm saying to you that there are things that I don't like at all about it, and there's other things like, oh, this is fine, but it's like people just can't say that it sucks. It's like there's other things. Guess what sucks? Some of the writing in Ahsoka sucks. Some of the writing in Obi-Wan sucks. Some of the writing in this show sucks. Here you go. You happy? You want to have a party? Go like this. Go like this. But but overall, there are things that for what I do, I don't just sit there and pout and go, this sucks. That's it. It sucks. It's like, no, I got to say, well, here are the things that could be good. Here are the things that, I wish was better. Here are the things that overall could work out if they go in this particular direction. But I don't like the direction of this show. I wish it would rather, to me, I would rather criticize it in a way going, look, they didn't go in the way of I thought it was going to be like this kind of dark Sith, how the Sith infiltrated, and it turned out into a young adult novel. And maybe there are people who enjoy that. It seems like more critics do, because the one thing I would say to you, John, is that I don't disagree with you that I do think that there was a large group of people that wanted to hate the show, decided this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. The show sucks. Yeah. You know what, everybody, let's do basically GameStop and let's go get them.
Oh, great point.
Right.
Yes. Let's mobilize them. Yes.
But I also think that they are not alone. I think that they're also with people like myself. Other people are going, it's not a good show.
Yeah.
Totally. And when you add it to those people, the score goes down dramatically. So maybe the audience score would have been at 45% with, the GameStop people, if you will. But you add it to everyone else, the regular people who are just not digging this show.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's more. I think that there's a lot of what you said is absolutely true, but I think there's a lot of legitimate criticism. This 100%. Is not a 3 out of 5 show,
right? And I think that's the problem, is that when you have the vitriolic comments with agendas that are against things that reference anything gay or have women led or people of color led, which are very obvious. Those are usually the first 2 lines of a toxic review. When you get that, and when you combine those with legitimate criticism, unfortunately, legitimate criticism gets lost because the headline grabbing headline is the toxicity of some of the reviews. That's going to sell. That's going to get clicks. That's going to get people to pay attention. So it's unfortunate that the more vitriolic, racist, sexist, homophobic reviews are overshadowing the legitimate reviews. And in a way, they're doing themselves a disservice by posting reviews like that, because they're washing away legitimate criticism of the show. And in a way, their desire to have the show criticized, now they're undercutting their own desire to have the show destroyed by mixing their toxicity in with legitimate, intelligent, well thought out, logical criticism. And that's the problem.
I think it lends itself to a bigger problem, though, too, John. I think that the idea that when it comes to this is, and we've spoken about this off air, we've spoken about this on air, I've spoken about it in general. I think that when you are doing, and I hate to just kind of again be a broken record here, but like when you're doing $170 million show,
180
$180 million show, you if you want to talk to your complete fan base, whether you like your complete fan base or not, when you're making shows for that much money, you've got to look at the entire fan base. You have to. When you're doing a $30-40 million, aim it at your audience, whoever you want your audience to be for that 30-40 million, because that's all you got to do. But when you're doing 180, you got to aim it at everybody. I mean, that's what Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 did. And I'm not telling you whether or not you think that's right or wrong. Like, oh, those people, then they get their own way. We're talking business here.
Yeah, business.
Talking business. If you want to spend $180 million and you don't want your things to get review bombed and everything, you got to make it stuff that people are going to go. You got to make it. Look, there are going to be some people that doesn't matter what you do, even if you decide to do something, that's going to be a little bit more. Let's say I'm going to do a little more classic Star Wars. I'm going to do a little bit more of that feel. I'm going to do a little bit, and people feel there's going to be people still hate it no matter what.
Of course, they're invested in hating it.
But if you make a Mandalorian season 1, season 2, and I really do legitimately think that if they would have focused on Obi-Wan and Anakin in that Obi-Wan series and made that series like that, was like, because that's what everybody thought the movie was going to be about. That's what everybody thought the show was going to be about, and it wasn't. And you're like, it's like you just and what was it yesterday? I'm watching House of the Dragon, and it just made me think. I know they did this in season 1, but the Game of Thrones theme song pops up, and at first people were like, oh, I don't know if they should do that. It's not the same show. It's like putting the James Bond theme in there. What do you? It's like they have their own music throughout the rest of the series, and it's similar. And I know it's the same composer, but why are you not using classic John Williams things to make it feel more like Star Wars, to make it feel like, give us more of the like trying to separate and make your own Star Wars? You're going to lose people. You're certainly losing. You're losing me. You're losing a lot of my my brother, who was like a hardcore Star Wars fan. It's just like, I'm not watching this show. It's like it's like I turn it on and it's like this. It's not for me.
I think what you're saying though is it all comes back to what you initially pointed out, and I think a lot of people point out is that these shows just aren't good overall. If the shows were good overall, nobody would give a crap about anything else. Like, look, X-Men 97 came out. That is as woke, quote unquote, whatever the misusage of that word people do on certain sides of political fences. It was as quote unquote woke as you get, and that show had incredible writing, great animation, fantastic storylines, and it was overwhelmingly received. And unfortunately, that's the truth of this, is that when you come out with a middling show or a not good show or a show that's okay or good but not great, then it opens itself up for the criticism, because then people who legitimately have an issue with the show will listen and look at other criticism that's more angry towards the show, and no one would care about the other stuff if the show was good. And at the end of the day, that's what it seems to be consistently, that these shows are not hitting the mark like they should.
No, because it's becoming a political war on both sides. It really is on both sides, because you can go. We already touched on the fact that there's the as you mentioned, there's a hateful side of things that just doesn't want to see certain things in the show. But on the same side, there's the ones that want to hammer down the point of like, this is our message, and if you don't like it, then and it's like that's what and has happened, and not just in Star Wars, it's happened in all of media. And if I'm a CEO, I'm going, what the fuck are you guys doing? It's like, we're trying to make money. And it's like, we can, as I said, if you're making smaller budget stuff, then to whatever you want to do, make your whatever it is, whether it's political, whether it's religious, you put enough money into it, whatever it is, your money into it. And it's like enough to where your fan base is going to come see it. Then as the head of that company, whoever you present me a business plan and going, well, here's our business plan. We're going to spend $5 million and we're going to make and all this, we're going to make it all that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and it's going to be aimed at our fan base. $5 million, and what do you think we can make? We think we can make 50 million on it. Make it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, we're going to do $200 million on this, and we're just going to go at that corner of the world right now. We only made $40 million. Why did we do that then? You know what I mean? And it's like, and I know that it's streaming, it's different when it comes to streaming numbers, but it's like, and it's a lot of the same people who are going, well, we can't let the bad guys win. And it's from both sides. Whoever you think the bad guys are, they go, we can't let the bad guys win. It's like, again, if I'm the head of the company, I'm going, this ain't a good versus bad right now. This is a green problem. Let's make good quality shit that people love to see, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, because we're making big budget movies here. We can't have political wars. We can't have religious wars. And I'm not saying that things aren't political inside of media. We know that it is, but I'm talking about the overall feel of it. If it becomes a stance that either side can take, you lose.
Yeah. And the thing is, that's the frustrating part of it all, is there's you get the point. Like, look, I think I've been reanalyzing some things as I've been looking at this and seeing the reactions. Not that I'm, giving more credence to the more vitriolic side of things. It's more a matter of, look, if you're going to take your project and your property and your franchise and you're going to go activist with it, which I think you have every right to do. It's a free country. You have every right to go activist with your stuff. You better make sure you come out with some incredible stuff, because you're going to be triggering the political other side of things. And we've seen now, Kristian, we are a very, very divided country. And as you said, it's business. And if you're a business person, if you're a CEO like Bob Iger, who already came out and said, we're not going to put messages, which is ironic as hell, because Disney's always had messages since the beginning of its creation. But this idea of like, okay, if you're going to have messages that overt, you got to know, all right, if we are going to make this, then we are going to make it for a certain amount of money, because we know it's going to trigger a very strong response from this other side, who clearly carry weight in the fandom and carry weight on social media and carry weight overall in the political discourse, in the pop culture discourse. And so you've got to factor that in. So I think what your point is so valid. $180 million to push this point of view is naturally going to trigger other people to react. I don't think 30 million would have triggered them. 180 triggers them. Of course. And so we have the battle.
Of course. Anytime you make it, but it's not just a political message too. We've talked about when it comes to budgets, and we've talked about like Furiosa. It's like, I was talking to my cousin yesterday. He's like, Furiosa was great. I really enjoyed it. And I was like, he's like, why didn't it make money? And it was an easy answer. We talked about it. It's like, first of all, it's again $170 million or whatever it was. You got to try to make that movie for 80 or 90 million. You have a lead actress who's very talented, not a star. Nobody knows who she is. She didn't even play the character in the last movie at all. And this other competition out there that's coming out with apes and other things during that month that is just going to be more attractive to people when they're like, well, what money do I spend, $15, $20 a ticket on to go see the movie? So it's like, it's just business making that when it comes to this stuff that it's like, it seems to me simple, but but I don't know. But as you say, when it comes to like Iger, to be fair, I think this show in general was greenlit before Iger came back. Yeah, but it's also, I don't know what world you would live in that you'd say here's a show that's not proven yet in a time period we don't know, that we're going to greenlight for $180 million and Obi-Wan's made for 80 or whatever. Like, what? And if you're going to do that, make the small story about like, when you die. And I guess we can transition before we do. Actually, I do want to transition into House of the Dragon, so we can kind of do a little bit of a comparison there. Also,
just can I say one thing to kind of end this side of the I do think there is people who are overreacting to episode 3. I will say that, and I don't mean to, try to trigger you upset. I'm saying overreact in terms of the definition. I think people are assuming that this is now suddenly changed canon in some cataclysmic way. And the truth is that this whole episode was from basically Osha's point of view. So we don't know what's the actual truth of what happened there on Brendock. So like, just wait a couple episodes. You might be right by the end of the 8 episodes. You might absolutely be right. They've changed canon.
Where it goes.
They unfaith can't. They changed it. Okay, I get it. Then get angry. I totally hear you. Let's hear your points. But right now, we're still 5 episodes away. I think we're going back to what happened on Brendock multiple times to get different points of views, to find out what actually happened. And maybe the Jedi aren't the bad guys as people are assuming after the episode. And maybe what the creation of life is completely different, and the threat. All of that could possibly be phenomenally different.
I'm going to physically slam my head
in how they're pushing it. So,
I'm going to physically slam my head into my desk if it turns out to be the witch. That's the Sith Lord.
The other mother.
It's like there's two like predictable potential. Like the way you're going to get me to go, if neither Manny Kinto or the Zabrak are the Sith. If neither one of those two are the Sith, then I'm going to go, okay, all right, you tricked me. You got me. Who you got? Who is it? But if either one of those two, I'm slamming my head into the desk. But yeah, there's a lot. And someone's like, you know why you just said that Anya Taylor-Joy isn't known to you because you're a film nut. People don't know who she is. She's not a movie star. She's not a movie star. I asked my 12-year-old who should know it more than me and you. No clue who she was. There are people that like don't know her, but maybe if you see her, you go, oh yeah, I know who that is. She's not a household name. She's not. Like, well, I know who she is because you're a movie nut. You love movies. People who are the average person that you got to spend money on to get those people into the theater don't know who the hell she is. Sorry, they don't. I wish that they did. She's phenomenal, and I think that they will because she's just so good. But I had friends that didn't even realize she was in Dune 2. I was like, yeah. Matt Serra is like a huge Dune fan. He's like, oh, is she in that? She says, oh, she was the sister? Yeah, she was the sister. Oh, yeah. She's great. But she's not a household name. She's not. I'm sorry. She's not.
No one within the circle, in the bubble, but she's not known in a big thing.
If you know film,
Scarlett Johansson. Right.
No, right. If you know film, if you keep up with with our type of show, then of course you know who she is. But if you're just some average person walking around on the street, you know who J-Lo is, you know who Scarlett Johansson is, you know who Emily Blunt is. You don't know who Anya Taylor-Joy is yet.
I'll go one better. Put Millie Gibson up. Oh, Millie Bobby Millie Bobby Gibson up?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown. Millie Gibson from Doctor Who. Sorry, Millie Bobby Brown and Anya Taylor-Joy. Yes. I guarantee you, everyone's going to know Millie Bobby Brown is. Not everyone's going to know Anya Taylor-Joy is. And yet, this is the Netflix show that was getting a lot of awards, Queen's Gambit. This is the Netflix show that everybody knows. And so there's the difference. Yeah.
Great point. Absolutely great point. Okay. So there was a lot to talk about there. And I see there's tons of you guys in the stream today. So thanks for joining us here. Make sure that the way that we do it is we go through all the main topics, and I see a bunch of people put in super chats. We'll get to all of them. Don't worry, but keep putting them in there, whatever you want to talk about for sure. And if it redoes the Acolyte conversation, that's cool. If you want to talk about the studio, I got to give my wife a lot of props, John. I really do like the way the studio looks. It really does. It doesn't look like the prison wall anymore. I'm digging it. All right. Let me tell you guys, I got two sponsors for you, and you're going to love them both. I'm going to tell you about Gentle Bands, which you guys have not seen Gentle Bands yet. And then I'll tell you about Gentle Bands, and of course you got Joy Mode. You guys know about those two for sure. But John, before we do that, tell me real quick about your thoughts on what's been going on for the box office, because I want, before we scoot over to that.
You mean with Inside Out 2? I think it's fantastic to see the numbers that are coming through, and because I think the story. I love this movie. I went back and saw it again yesterday. Actually, I went back and saw it again. It's because the film itself just did such a brilliant and smart thing when it addressed teenage anxiety, right? It's so smart. And you bring in someone like Maya Hawke to voice the character, who is becoming one of my favorite actresses, speaking of Stranger Things, and you bring these other elements in, like embarrassment and envy. How many of us, I think a majority of people in the world, experience these emotions during puberty and transitioning. And the way they picked it, the way they picked the emotions and picked the actors to play them, I thought was fantastic. And that last half an hour, really diving into what's going on when you have a panic attack, what's going on with an anxiety attack. More and more people are experiencing that in their lives, both later in life and earlier in life. And so to have that be such a strong element of Riley's experience made it very universal. And I think that's why people went back. Yes, the humor, the comedy, the designs, the expanding of the world of Riley's mind, all of that was fun. But I think the overall emotional story that they were telling really universally appealed to a lot of people. This is old school Pixar from the original Toy Story, Finding Nemo, those salad days. This is their first one they've done in a while that really, really captures that magic. So yeah, I think that's why it's doing so well.
I agree with you, Crush. So we'll discuss just about the box office and how that really helped kind of making a big comeback in just a moment. But I do want to tell you guys both about Gentle Bands and Joy Mode right now. Let me tell you about Gentle Bands. You're going to love it. All right, guys, before I move on, I want to tell you guys about Gentle Bands. Check that out. You see that ring right there? That is Gentle Bands. And so this company reached out to me a little while ago and they said, hey, we think that you and your audience would be perfect for us. I said, yeah, why do you think that? And then I started to take a look. And so what's so special about them is it's what Gentle Bands does. They kind of reimagine the genre of science fiction and fantasy, and they really pay attention to detail. In this particular ring, it's tungsten and opal, and you can see a little bit of right here, and it has like that balance of the dark side and the light. It reminds me of like Star Wars meets Lord of the Rings. So tungsten is very dense, sturdy, and opal is like the highlight. It represents personality, style, all that stuff. And their package, the stuff that it comes with, is really great. They also offer engraving services at the moment. That's pretty great. They draw inspiration from classic science fiction films and games, and their team has developed this galactic collection, and it captures the essence of the enchanting universe and the eternal battles between dark and light. So once again, when you're taking a look at this website in general and just some of the things that they have there. And as I show you a few of the pictures here, I thought those were pretty interesting on how they actually kind of crafted this whole thing. Now, if you want to go and get one of them, you go to gentlebands.com and you can use my code KHChannel and you'll get 25% off. It's pretty amazing. You get 25% off, but you got to use that code KHChannel. It around, I really love it, and it's got it. Yeah, it just. I'm not going to lie to you. It does. I have said my precious a couple times, but here it is. Check it out. Gentle Bands, links in the description. Thanks, guys. All right, you know as well as I do. You've been standing at that gas station, you look over and you go, oh, sexual pills. I'm gonna try one of those. Don't do it. They are not good over there. Not healthy. But Joy Mode is. What is Joy Mode? When you go to the gym and you take something to help you with your workout, it's the same thing with Joy Mode. It's a sexual enhancement performer, man. It's amazing and it works. The issue is that over-the-counter pill, it contains unregulated chemicals, it suggests unsafe doses, and it includes the risk of several other health problems. That is why we are partnered with our friends over at Joy Mode. I tried it, and man, oh man, it just makes you feel good. It's that extra pep. It's not necessarily a step, but you get what I'm talking about. Whether you're looking to spice up your intimate moments or increase your confidence in the bedroom, Joy Mode makes all natural and science-backed supplements dedicated to helping men perform better across their core functions. Their trademark product, the Sexual Performance Booster, it's every man's solution for increased blood flow, firmness, stamina, and performance. It comes in a palm-sized packet like your favorite electrolyte powder. Simply mix 6 to 8 ounces of water 45 minutes before sexual activity and watch the magic unfold. Literally. Redefine your intimacy and go to usejoymode.com for 20% off with the code BIGTHING. Appropriate. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code BIGTHING at usejoymode.com. Ingredients with integrity. Joy Mode. Oh, I saw somebody in the comment section say, I'm 22, no need for Joy Mode yet. Oh, contraire, mon frere. I'll tell you right now, this has nothing to do with, well, I can't get going. This is like going to the gym. And you're like, oh, you know what? I need a little energy drink. Trust me on that one. And people have been getting the Joy Mode. You don't have to tell me on this one, like, hey, I tried it out. I get it. You want to be embarrassed? You don't need to be, but I get it. This is some good shit. I'll tell you that.
Ask your girlfriend if you need it. Trust me, she'll tell you do.
I know. But I'll tell you, man. So again, Joy Mode, and how cool were those rings?
I know, dude. That looked awesome.
Yeah.
I'm actually really considering taking a look at that because I don't have any rings on my hands, and I don't mind an occasional one kind of sliding in. So I would love a black one there.
They have a lot of great ones. They had a lot of great ones.
Sam Levine, you should get one for Rachel Cushing there.
Oh, she'll love those.
The elf and stuff.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to. I want to jump back into what John was talking about with the Pixar and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because we had a big weekend, man. We had a really big weekend with Inside Out 2. And this is some of the numbers and some of the things that happened thus far and whatnot, and who has been, and Inside Out and Inside In and all that stuff. All right, Inside Out. Well, it's breaking records, and it keeps breaking records.
Right on.
Dark Horizons. Joy isn't just a leading character, but a feeling throughout Disney and all Hollywood today as Disney and Pixar's animated sequel. Inside Out 2 continues to beat even the rosiest box office expectations. The film has pulled in $155 million in its first domestic weekend of release, doubling the debut of Dune Part 2 and Godzilla and Kong the New Empire. So Dune made 82, and Godzilla and Kong made 80. So this is the first one that ripped 100. It also marks the first film since Barbie opened to 162 last year to debut above 100. Oh wow, Barbie did 162, and so this movie's got a shot for $1 billion. We'll talk about that in a second. And the second biggest in Pixar history, behind only The Incredibles 2, which was 182, and surpasses its predecessor's 90.5 star by a considerable margin. Internationally, it is similarly going wildly beyond expectations, with box office up to 140 million from overseas markets, surpassing Frozen for the biggest overseas animated opening of all time. Latin America is particularly coming out huge for the film, delivering that region's second biggest numbers of all time, behind only Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
All in, the film's opening weekend has grossed 295 million opening weekend, the biggest animated debut in like-for-like markets to date. That bodes very well for the film, which had a $200 million production budget. In fact, estimates now are the film's total domestic gross, could reach $500 million. It also helped to push the collective domestic box office above 200 million for the first time this year, and helped shrink the overall box office drop from 26% to 23.8%. Bad Boys Ride or Die came in second with an impressive 33 million in its second weekend and release, and has also managed 214 globally. So if you look at the numbers this weekend, it was Inside Out 2 with 155, Bad Boys with 33, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes staying strong with 5.2, Garfield at 5, and The Watchers at 3.7. All right, John.
Yeah.
So you hear those numbers, dude, and this is big stuff for the box office, right?
Yeah. I mean, all these people saying the cinema was dead or cinema's gone, or, you know what I'm saying? It's not that there isn't some legitimate points of views and analysis to be had about there. Certainly we've talked about budgets, but this is just shows you that if you may, that's not, there's no formula. There's no formula. It's completely like, does this appeal to enough people? And if it does, it's going to be successful. Clearly, Furiosa didn't. Clearly, The Fall Guy didn't. And everyone was like, oh, it can't be the movies, because the movies are such quality. There's no way it's the movies. It's got to be all this other stuff. But really, at the end of the day, it has always been the movies. What about it does it appeal? Quality is irrelevant. How does it appeal to the public? And clearly, Inside Out had a very strong resume, the original film, and it inspired so many people to give this a second chance, or give this a chance. And then the reviews came pouring in that were very positive. I know people want to say we're review-proof society. I don't believe that's true. And so that's what you saw here. People found a natural, instinctual attraction to this film and wanted to go see it. And that's why it was good. And that's the thing, as we said earlier, if it's good, no matter what you do with it, if there's an interest for it and people take a chance on it, it can blow up. So I think that's what happened here. And it's great to see. And the fact it's doing so well in Latin America, it makes me very, very happy on so many levels, because that's also an area where mental health and talking about feelings and talking about the stuff you're going through isn't really accepted very, very strongly within those countries. So the fact that you have a film that's talking about that and doing so well speaks that there is a change happening there with the younger and younger generations who are seeing that there's something here to talk about and explore. So I love that, dude.
So I agree with 98% of what you said.
Hey, look, I'll take it from you. 98%.
The 2% of something that you said that I want to start with the pushback is that there's no formula to it, right? Of what can work and what can't, right?
Okay. Yes.
If you put summer movies for children, and you can get good marketing behind it, you will most likely do pretty well. If will prove that to you, because If is a movie that no one that we were talking about wanted to see. It's doing fine, but it was something for people to see, to take their children to in the summertime. School's out. Garfield still making money because something.
But that's a good movie too.
Sure, but it's because during the year, and I'm saying this as a dad, there is not a lot of stuff to take your children to. As a moviegoer, you have a full year to choose whatever you want. You go, I don't want to see that. I'm not going to see that. I don't care about that. That I might see. Kids movies, they come around. You're like, oh, I got to see something. They got to take something to see the kids. couple it with all of the stuff that you said that I agreed with why Inside Out is just hitting for people, because people are excited, and it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I loved it. I took my 12-year-old who has essentially grown up with Riley, was not too far off from her age when in the first one, and is now her age in the second one. Wow. And she related to all of it. She loved it. She teared up twice. She said that one hit a little too close to home, you know, and how she was, everything that she's dealing with as a kid. And watching all of that, you understand why the movie's doing well as far as the quality side of it, as because it was a successful movie. And it is one of those times that you say it's got a $200 million budget. And it's the time that I won't say why. I get it. I understand why, because it was a successful movie and the gamble is worth it. Plus, and I hate saying this because I love Bill Hader, love Mindy Kaling. They didn't come back because it would have inflated the budget and they didn't get the money that Amy Poehler did.
Yeah, Amy got $5 million.
Amy got more money, and it would have inflated the budget more. And Pixar and Disney made the move to say, do we need them? Are they phenomenal in both the first movie? Yes. Did it hurt the quality of movie to have them not in it? No.
Yeah,
it didn't. And I love them both. And I think that they're really good. And I know that if they were watching this, they'd probably say, F you.
Don't fuck with my money.
Don't mess with my money. And I understand it. But that's one of those decisions, again, in business that you look and you go, we have a $200 million budget. Do we need to pay another 10 right now? Right. No, we don't. Can we get somebody that'll play? Well, most of the kids not realize it. They didn't. It's one of those reasons in the first place that I don't think when you have voiceover cast that you need to get all these big stars right away. As long as you have one or two, you can find, because I think it was Tony Hale that did Fear this time around. And then I can't remember who took over for Mindy, but either way,
Liza Lapira. Yeah,
they did great. And they probably cost a fraction of what they would cost. So they used their money right. They made a lot of money off of it. It's going to make it's going to make $1 billion.
Oh yeah.
And Despicable Me 2 right now is going, what do we got? Or 4, whatever it is. They're 3. Is it 3 or 4? I don't even know. 4. Either way, they're like, it's like Minions are jumping and billion. It is Despicable Me is gonna crush. And I don't know now who's going to be the top of the year. I'm still sticking. I know that you're going to owe me dinner next time we see each other again.
I don't know. That's true. Yeah.
Deadpool, whether or not it takes the #1 spot of the whole year.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know. I ask you guys though, man, we have that the box office dose. Clearly they needed this boost. Inside Out 2 needed between that and Bad Boys, giving Bad Boys love also, because what Bad Boys is continuously able to do. That was the one that started it. People will talk about Inside Out if it makes $1 billion, but Furiosa was kind of like, it made the box office kind of wobbly when you had Apes was looking like the biggest movie of the summer, and then Bad Boys came in hitting tough, and now Inside Out 2. Will it continue? So put your comments in there, whether you're watching on the replay, whether you're watching live, and tell me what you think. Okay, so if we're moving on here to some other stuff, and there's Inside Out 2. The other thing to discuss that I want to bring up, House of the Dragon, man.
Yeah, man.
Holy moly, I love this show. I love this show. And going back to our conversation earlier with if you're an audience member and you're sick to death of it, I can't tell you that I blame you, but I was watching this show last night, John, and I'm listening to that music, and I had that thought of the Kevin Kiner side of why don't they do what Kevin Kiner does in Star Wars? And then I'm watching this show, and I know you can't get as adult in Star Wars, but I'm like, Andor got so close.
Yeah, dude.
Andor got so close, and I'm going, why can't you just do this for Star Wars? And then I just said, stop thinking like that and just watch the freaking show. And I did. And HBO's Game of Thrones spinoff House of the Dragon returns for a second season tonight. And the reviews are a bit more mixed on the sophomore run. Oh, what? So I guess 47 reviews. The series is 87%. Okay. Rotten Tomatoes compared to the 93 of the first. It's a better story on Metacritic, where it landed a 73 out of 100 compared to the 69 of the first season. The series famously unfolds nearly 200 years before the events of Thrones and tells the story of the Targaryen Civil War, yada, yada, yada. So some of the reviews, they're just mixed, whatever. But either way, I watched it last night. To me, I guess we do non-spoiler for the people who haven't seen
Sure,
it.
sure. Yeah.
But let me fix my shot, please. But I was watching this show last night, and I felt like it took right from where it left off.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can say in the non-spoilers, I mean, I guess you're going to get if you didn't see season 1, you're going to get a little spoiled here, because it's like it's no more the setup of are they going to battle now? It's like, no, we're getting ready to battle now. And what's going to happen? And it is the thing about Game of Thrones when it's done well, it's this political intrigue, and like, and you talk about again political, and you talk about like you've got so much things that reflect what's going on in society today. You got things going on, and like political messages, but it's done in a way that just fits in with the storytelling of this era. And as you're watching it, and you're watching everything, you're on the edge of your seat. You feel. It's like it's sexy at times, it's icky at times. It's it's got all this stuff that you're just like so locked into, and and most of the time I'm like I'm rooting for Rhaenyra, and I'm rooting, and then there's times I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that move, and then you know what I mean. I'm like, I don't know who to root for. I hate that guy, but I like that guy. I don't like her, but I really like her, and I'm in the Game of Thrones. I'm in it. So I loved it. What did you think?
Yeah, absolutely. We're dropping our spoiler review probably right after we finish the show here on my channel on the Outlaw Nation. And certainly Michael and Shannon and I had a fun time talking about it this morning before I came on to do the show with you. And last night I watched it twice just to kind of savor the show and savor the episode. I love that we're back in this world. I love that we didn't just start with a wang bang explosion. I like that they expand the world, and I like that we're touching base with these characters. And you're right that we're picking up right after the events of the season finale, maybe days after the events of the season finale. So the emotions are still raw, very raw on both sides of what happened. Again, no spoilers about what happened at the end of the first season. So I love that. So everybody has their positioning, and the political machinations, and whose house is on what side, and what are we going to do about the blockade and the ships, and also there's so much that was already presented in season 1 that we touched base on in this opening that I thought was fantastic. And then we introduce more characters that are going to be a bigger part of the show as the season goes along. And then we end on a very brutal, unsettling ending that just shows you this show will slow walk you into a bunch of spikes on the ground because it shocks you out of nowhere. And I love that happened by the end. So to me, this was a great way to come back, laying the groundwork for what we're going to have dealing with in season 2, and fantastic performances and writing and great direction by Alan Taylor, who did Thor: The Dark World and 7 episodes of Game of Thrones as well.
Great job. And not necessarily the character. I don't know if I don't like the character, but I like what the actor is doing, and I like let me say I like what they're doing with the character himself. I just don't like the character. And that's the king. Right.
Aegon. Yes.
You know what I like about what they're doing? Because I'm like, okay, they're just going to make Aegon Joffrey. He's not Joffrey at all. At all. Like so there's certain things that he wants to do that Hightower is like, no, don't do that. And he's like, but I want to do that because I'm able to make the people like me if I do that. Like he cares what the people
like my dad did. I want to do what my dad did. I want to be good to the people.
Right. And then there's other times where he does stuff where and it's not like there's something that he does in the room where you're like, oh man, is he going to call for this guy's like death? And he does to humiliate this guy, whatever it is. And it's like little things. He's like a power hungry little prick, but he's still got like there's layers to him, which I was like, okay, I like what they're doing with this character. There's a certain thing that they're trying to do at the end of the episode. And I'm going, there's no way they're gonna pull this off. What's gonna happen? And when they do something else, you're like, oh yeah, that's what you're talking about. And I'm it's tough. It's tough, but I love the show. It was my favorite show, and that's the year that Andor came out, and it was my favorite show over Andor. It is continuing on that right now. I absolutely love it. I cannot wait. I'm gonna try to do it's just because I was in the middle, like we landed on Friday night. And then I was able to watch. We don't even have a television in the house right now, so I had to take. I had a projector that my brother got me for Christmas, and I plugged the projector in, and I watched it on the wall last night. Sitting on one chair that I have in the living room, eating granola, watching House of the Dragon and getting interrupted every 15 minutes to bath and whatnot. I don't know what the hell was going on, but
here's your TV, you filthy animal.
I know, for real. But there you go. So that's House of the Dragon, everybody. Please, please, please tell me your thoughts once again in the comment section live. If you're watching on the replay, Apple Podcast, Spotify, put your comments in there for sure. And and the other thing is, as I say, the studio kind of coming along. We're going to have that side set up pretty soon. We're going to get probably a new table, everything else. Brett's coming back here in July to help kind of fix up some stuff too, because this will be the other side of it. We'll do some more things. We got this area that I'm very happy with, because it was the thing that like I was most concerned with, and my wife was like, "We'll get it, don't worry." And she was like, I said this morning, I'm just going to go in. I got a show with John. I'll just do it with the prison wall. It'll be fun. And she goes, "No, you go in. We have these things. I will take care of it." And it's like, and I went and got food for me and my kids and my wife and her and the little one, the 6.5-year-old. She was helping out, taking the strips and doing everything too. And I came back and the 6.5-year-old goes, "It was pretty much me." It was so good. She was
mom, but I didn't.
She really is a soprano. Did I tell you the thing when I walked into the kitchen, there was like snacks there.
Yeah.
And she walks up and she just walks right past me. She sees the snack. She goes, "Oh, don't mind if I do." 6.5. This walks over. It's hilarious. I don't know where the hell these kids learn this stuff. Anyway, I'm wondering if we got anything else here. Oh yeah. All right. So there's a couple other things in the news that we could talk about. I mean, House of the Dragon is so damn good. This is something that I wanted to talk to you about, and that's Shōgun.
Shōgun.
Now I know I still, like I said, this is a show that I love, and I'm going to catch up to it. I promise you, I'm going to catch it. But you had talked about it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought like when we kept going whether or not there was going to be a season 2, you're like, "No, there shouldn't be. I don't want one." Right? Am I wrong?
No, I never said that. I said that people felt that way, that there shouldn't be. I've always been. It's halfway through the season 1. I was like, I know they can't. I don't know how they can do a season 2, but I hope that they do.
Okay. So I stand corrected. But so then this is a story in Dark Horizon. Shōgun team teases a darker future season. The surprising news came last month that veteran acting icon Hiroki Sanada had closed a deal to return as Lord Yoshi Toranaga for a second season of the highly acclaimed Shōgun. The network then announced the third season was also being developed. Wow. The surprise was that up until that point, there was no hint that the highly acclaimed and commercially successful series would ever get a second season, as it was designed as a limited series. And then they realized how popular it was.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not rocket science. The series served as a complete adaptation of the standalone book. The author, James Clavell, never wrote a direct sequel, and his other works like Taipan, Jaijin, and King Rat, and Noble House are all set centuries later with different characters. Even the producers just a month earlier were saying in interviews there were no plans and no idea what kind of story they wanted to tell. Either way, a writer's room is being assembled and will be working this summer. We got 17 phone calls in the course of 6 minutes. and 3 truckloads of money are sitting in my back porch. What do I do? Write the series.
Exactly.
In a recent interview with the Hollywood Reporter, Justin Marks, Rachel Kondo offered an update on how it's going. Said there's a lot of chaos, but there's creative chaos where we're throwing everything we have at the wall, seeing what sticks. It's been exciting and nerve-wracking because obviously it's uncharted territory. We don't have a roadmap. We have history. Justin Marks says there's a lot of great conspiracy theory in history, a lot of different theories about, it was said this went on, but this really went on. And those little darker corners are what we enjoyed exploring. The third season is an ending. We know where it starts and we know where it ends, and we know we're on that journey. We're just focusing on part 2 and making sure we can get to that point. But part 2 is a second chapter. It's going darker. Sanada is also producing the series, says the team learned that a spirit and a taste of storytelling, and all of his DNA is in our bodies, I believe. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so it's going to be a seasonal drama now. I'm not going to lie to you. This makes me a little nervous.
Okay.
Makes me a little nervous. It's because I think that the writers are fantastic, but it's a little similar to Game of Thrones, right? They run out of the book. They don't know more book, and or Fantastic Beasts, and now you got to come up with your own story, and you can't take all the stuff that you got from the book. And I'm not saying they can't pull it off. They very well could, but it's got to make you a little nervous. No?
Well, I think nervous, sure, because the first season was so damn good that we've seen second seasons, just like with albums, we see that group come out with a debut album, and then the next album isn't quite as good, right? And so we see this happen in a lot of creative ventures. So you get nervous because you loved how great it was. And I saw some people reacting very strongly about a second season, saying this, you should have left it as a first season. It will stay immaculate in that way. Why would you do a second season? But I think the difference between this situation in Game of Thrones is there's actual historical evidence that they can use as a basis. This guy actually lived, John Blackthorne. He's based on it's obviously the person has a different name, but and Toranaga is based on another Shōgun. So these people really did exist. So right. The fact that you have some historical basis from which to create fictional historical drama from that still touches on real stuff that happened between them and alludes to it, I think that's where they have a little more of a leg up than like Game of Thrones, the end of season 7 into season 8, where they didn't have anything to base it on other than the mythology of this fictional series. So I think that's where the difference lies in the two, but still nervous because it doesn't mean just because they have all this historical stuff that they're going to get it right.
Right. No, it's a great point. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think that season 2 is something that they should do? Explore it. They've got the writers, they have the showrunners, they have the producers, they got everything. They have the cast, they have what they need. What do you think? Put your comments in there. Tell us what you think could happen. All right, we are going to get to your questions. I think it's time for that. We have a ton of questions you guys came in. You can still keep putting them in there. We'll be here until the end of it. But before we do, I also want to tell you guys, as I've mentioned to you so many times over, and I'm excited to tell you about Rocket Money. I've told you about Rocket Money, guys, and the reason why for Rocket Money was so important is that I for a long time, I used to do these things where I'd be on my phone and I'd start searching for these apps. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll sign up. Oh, for free? Yeah, it's free for now, but then it's going to be $20, $30 a month, and you forgot that you're even paying it. And I was like, oh, well, this Rocket Money lets you know about what subscriptions that you have that you're not paying attention to. It can cancel subscriptions for you. It really is amazing, and it just cuts so much time out of my schedule, and I love it because you don't even know how much you're paying in subscriptions, and you're probably paying way more than you think because over 74% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about, and I definitely did that. I can tell you that right now. Like there was a couple. I'm telling you, some of these apps. I tried some of these apps, and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot all about it. You think you spend around $62 per month on subscriptions, something like that, but it's close to about 300. You're close to about 300 a month because Rocket Money is also it's a personal finance app. And it cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors all of your spending, and it helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Because I got full control over my subscriptions. I have a clear view of my expenses. It helped tremendously on this move. And you don't want to waste money. So it's got over 5 million users, and they say from what they said, the average people, I think overall, everyone that's using it, 500 million in canceled subscriptions.
Wow.
It saves about $740 a year. It's great. So stop wasting money on things that you don't use. You just cancel your unwanted subscriptions. You go to rocketmoney.com/thing, rocketmoney.com/thing. Very easy. Rocketmoney.com. And I got to tell you about AG1. You guys know AG1. I mean, if you've been listening to this show long enough, you know that I love AG1. And people keep asking me. They notice. John even said when I started, new look, 20 pounds I lost. One of those reasons. AG1 became part of my routine because for a long time I wasn't paying attention to what was going on in my body. It just wasn't. For me, I read labels, I verify that everything is up to the quality I need, and that is why I've stayed with AG1 for as long as I have. It is a research-backed foundational nutrition supplement, and it delivers daily nutrients, gut health support, and is backed by multiple research studies so you can trust what you're putting into your body. Because I like coffee. I used to drink so much coffee to keep up, but I don't need it anymore, not as much. Because after drinking AG1, I have realized that I have all this energy and I need less coffee to power my day. And it turns out I'm not alone. Because in a research study, 91% of people noticed they needed less coffee after 60 days of drinking AG1. 97% of people in a research study felt more energy after 30 days of drinking AG1. That's crazy. 91% of participants noticed that they need less coffee after 60 days of drinking AG1. That's me. Energy is a majorly important reason why it comes to I need so much energy for parenting. I can tell you that right now. AG1 contains ingredients that supported sustained energy so you can be the best version of yourself within each day. And it really has worked for me, and it's helped me on the plane, everything. It's easy, it's satisfying to start your journey with AG1. If you go to AG1 and you can get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase, you got to go to drinkag1.com/big thing. drinkag1.com/big thing. It's the one product I trust to support my whole body health. It's AG1. Have you tried AG1 yet, John? Be honest with me.
I gotta get it in motion. Like you, I gotta react to it when I'm ready to react to it. Like you said, I've been paying attention. The Lady Outlaw has been making me salads for the last 3 weeks for lunch and dinner to kind of get me back down again. And I think AG1 will be the next step once I start working out again with the weights and everything else. So yeah.
And I'll tell you this. Yeah. Even before you start working out, it'll put you will. I got Riley going with AG1 and he just absolutely loves it. Had I seen you before I left, I would have given you a bunch of free packets, but didn't get a chance. So I would tell everybody to check it out. And you help the show, by the way. And I haven't said that at all. Any one of our sponsors today, if you get one of them and you want to support the show, people are like, oh, I didn't get anything on the Amazon list. Can I support it? Get something for yourself. And that helps the show. So it helps tremendously. All right, let's get to some questions, John, because
let's do it.
A lot of questions today. A lot of questions. So let's get into a bunch of it. So what I'm going to do is the way that I'll read these through. If you're like, hey, you missed my question, I know what I have to do here. I go through the starred ones and I go through these too. So there's 2 different ones. Matt Sinister McCall. Which actor would play a great Sith? Defoe for me. I hate to use the he would be good, by the way. But I'd want to see him as like an alien or something. I'm going back to like 10 years ago, the standard answer. I want to see either Fassbender or Hardy play a Sith.
Ooh, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
We brought this up on the Geek Buddies on Friday. Dwayne Johnson has just signed a first look deal with Disney.
Yeah.
We used to joke about it on Movie Fights.
Darth Bane.
About Dwayne Johnson joining the Star Wars universe. Can Dwayne Johnson be can he be the Darth Maul species type of guy? Bald with the spikes. And the size. Would that really bother you if he was in the world of Star Wars as a different species that could cover up the fact that it's the Rock's face?
If he can put his ego to the side and put on a costume that he's hidden behind and that he is a massive kind of hulking figure, almost like Kane was to the WWE.
Oh, good reference. Yeah.
And do something very dark. And do something, where you don't even know that it's him.
Yeah.
Then yes. But if you start having him try to deliver lines as The Rock, it won't work.
No, it's not going to work. If he's dropping rock bottoms in the Star Wars universe, it's not going to work. Yeah.
All right. Let's say Mike Joyce. Love Mike. What's up, Mike? Based on the last episode, are Jedi just religious zealots who eliminated any group who wielded the Force in a different way to them? That's what I don't like about the show. I mean, there are some people who I don't like how the Jedi. I liked when I was a kid that I thought Jedi were like, the good guys, and they've made it so clear now that they're not. They were misguided. They were arrogant. This, and I know that it's because of what happened that eventually led to their. But they did a lot of good too, and they have one guy out there that's doing the right thing right now, and it's like it's tiring. So no, I feel like that is the way that they set it up, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't believe it. No, Mike Joyce saying stuff as if Star Wars has officially said that this is their.
Yeah, he didn't officially say.
What did he say? What was the question?
He just asked a question. Is that the way that they're being portrayed? And is that the way that they're making it look? And I was like, yeah, it is.
It's a murder mystery. And so you're supposed to question things. You're supposed to wonder which side of the fence people are. And you're supposed to wonder if what you're getting is actually the truth. And so for right now, I'm reserving judgment. And I don't think they're portraying the Jedi this way officially in this show just yet. This is a perspective of Osha as a 9-year-old making herself the hero of her story. Because they also portrayed May as this, aggressive, emotional, evil person. And the Coven as this restrictive, choking the life, forcing her to become a witch. This is all Osha's point of view. And she has the hero she's the hero of her own journey. So she's going to portray other people as trying to stop her from doing what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
We're going to find out the truth as the show goes along. And if at the end it is the Jedi being evil or whatever, or being arrogant, then I understand people's upsetness.
But you and I have both. We won't go into spoilers, but you and I have both seen the 4th episode, and neither one of us liked it.
Yes, I'm not gonna lie. The 4th episode, the people are mad about the 3rd. You wasted your energy because it's the 4th one that you really.
What are we doing?
Upset about?
Yeah, anyway, okay. Mike Joyce, it's been fascinating to watch the Star Wars fandom meltdown over this show. Why even make new movies if they want Star Wars to stay the same as when they were kids? See, I don't agree with that though, Mike. I don't think it's a matter of staying the same. I think it's familiar tones. I think it's familiar in the same way that, and I'll bring up James Bond again. When you want to see new versions of James Bond, but you still want it to feel like James Bond. You know, when it's, you can still, I don't need to see the new trilogy again, but I need to feel the same way, because that's why I liked it in the first place. Not that I don't want to see the same movies, because they tried to do that with Force Awakens and it's not the same. It's just a repeat.
Yeah.
But it's the tone, it's the feel, like House of the Dragon. It's not the same show as Game of Thrones, but you feel like it's the same world.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. And I think that's what a lot of other people are looking for.
Yeah, it's the smashing together of tones, as you brought up earlier, Kristian. Yeah. I think if it had gone one way or the other, fine, I can quantify it. Mixing the harder edge stuff with CW approach to stuff, it's just not allowing you to fully like understand what the point of this was, honestly. Yeah.
Right. All right. So Shelby, why? Huge Star Wars fan. Acolyte doesn't have my attention. I just don't care. They are twins. One is bad. Nothing else happens to make me want to watch. I agree, Shelby. Plus the fact, the other thing, John, when you said it's a murder mystery, is it? We kind of know who did it.
Well, do we?
I mean, we don't know who the person is behind the mask, but we kind of know who's behind it. It's not really a mystery anymore. Who done it? One of those people. Oh, okay. Who is it? It's either one of those two. Oh, okay.
Is it though? I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. But I mean, I agree with Shelby. I just think it's just not as intriguing as they thought it was, as they think it is. You know, I will say this.
Yeah.
Someone said this in the comments, and I don't want to brush it off. They said the bigger question to be asking right now is not why is the audience score so low? It's why is the critics score so high? I think it's a fantastic question. I really do think it is, because if you look at it, let's say it's Bot City on the other one, right? Okay, we have an answer to why it's so low. If you wanted to say that, I still think that it has a lot of legitimate low scores in there. But why is this show so highly rated? Yeah. It is not. What is it at 87% or something like that?
Yeah.
Come on, man. This is not an 87. It's like, but to answer my own question before, 87% of those people thought that it was higher than a 3 out of 5. And I guess I can say, okay, I don't agree with it, but that's the answer. The answer is they thought it was higher than a 3.5. Even if someone's like, it's okay, it's a 3. They don't think it, but just because it's 87, it doesn't mean they think this is amazing. It just thinks that they think it's over 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask, because you wonder, do people have their own agendas and how they, and listen, I would never remove people's agendas, whether you're a critic or a fan, behind their review posting. I would never do that, because I think human beings are human beings. And sometimes there are critics who are like, well, look, they're talking about this. They're having women in the lead. I'm going to give it a positive review. They have people of color in the lead. I'm going to give it a positive review. They're going to they have 2 mothers, essentially implying a gay relationship. I'm going to give it a positive review. So there are people who do that. And they might even be pushing back against some of the more vitriolic, toxic reviews by saying, you know what, I'm going to review positively because I know what the horde is going to do. And so that's very much a possibility. And I'm not trying to bring anybody specifically into question. I'm saying
I think it's a great point. I think it's a great point. I think it's important to say also, because it is one of those things where it's like, I think there are people who legitimately like it. And I do think that legitimate people that just go, okay, well, I know that channel over there is going to crap on it. So what I like this show, even though I don't really like it, but I'll give it a positive enough, because I interviewed Leslie one time and I thought she was great, because every single person that I've ever met that has interviewed or spoken to Leslie Headland loved talking to her.
Right.
Loved talking to her. And she was nothing but wonderful to people. So they were like, oh, okay, so what she's doing, I'm going to give a positive review. I think that does happen. I really do.
I don't think it's an accident. And look, some people might get mad at me. I don't think it's an accident that they had that big thing where they invited some of the biggest Star Wars channels to be part of the conversation, and all of a sudden you saw the stuff.
But
I think that was about.
So, but let me bring it.
I'm not impugning. I'm just saying
you're not.
it was a smart move to get them.
Of course you're not, and I know that's what these dumbs that say like, oh, they pay people. They're dumbs. Those people who say nobody gets paid for this, they're dumbs. Now, what those dumbs don't realize is that what they do, 100% they do, whether they invite you to a premiere or they fly out to a junket in Hawaii or they ain't telling you, hey, give us a positive review. But they know that in your head, you're going to go, that was a wonderful experience. And they'll never tell you this, but of course they're going, hopefully they loved that so much they had a chance to do that. They're going to remember this experience. And that adds to it. They never tell you that. No one has ever once said to anyone, at least that I know, they're going, hey, do me a favor, give this one a nice one.
Right. I've never had
ever. Because of the amount of trouble they could get in for doing it. But of course, we're going to fly you out to Lucasfilm. And we're going to fly you out there. And we know that if you notice, the people that they invited this time around were people who are very ultra positive Star Wars fans. And so you bring them with big follows, big reaches. So they bring those people out and they go, hey, and we're also going to show you this. What'd you think? We loved it. This is amazing. We love talking to Leslie. We love talking to Dave. And it's not that I'm telling you that you have to love it. But I think you're 100% right. They do these things because they want to get you excited about it.
It's smart business. If you connect a big Star Wars platform that you follow, talking about how much fun they had at this event, talking to Leslie, interviewing, posting that content on their channel, then you by osmosis are going to be like, well, I'm more inclined to give this series a chance. Whereas I may not have been as interested. Now I'm like, well, if they say they had a good time, then I'm going to go take it a chance. Again, I'm not impugning any credit. That's how you can connect.
Of course. But it's the same reason. Like when a few of the dumbs, when I said, I gave it like a back of when I would say, as I mentioned before, there's some things that I don't like. And most, the show it's whatever. The third one, I still say, and I don't give a shit if you agree with me or not. It's like out of the three of them, I thought the third one was the best written out of the three of them. And people were like, oh, that's because he doesn't want to lose his access to what?
Yeah,
what am I losing access to?
All fantasies.
You don't get to see things early. Guess what? I'm part of the fucking critics' choice.
Yeah,
I see things early, whether or not they want me to or not.
Right.
So whether I'm going to give it a bad review or not. So it has nothing. Early access. It's like those are the dumbs. When the dumbs go, well, you don't want to say this because you wanted to lose your access. What's my access? I don't know what my access is anymore. I can't find the access to my fucking house anymore. My access.
I can't even get in my house. Yeah, I know it's fabricated stuff because they can't do what we do. They're not able to do it, or they don't have the desire to do it.
True. But that's
no. I'm not saying we're better than. I'm not. No, you misunderstand what I'm saying.
I know you're not.
Is that it takes a lot of effort to do this stuff, and unfortunately, they don't have the path in their lives at this point to do it.
But that's why I push back. That's why I push back. A lot of the dumbs that do it, they absolutely 100%. All they would have to do, even the videos that they make.
Yeah.
If they wrote an email and said, "Hey, this is my following, and I do this, and I want to see things early," you're probably gonna get approved.
Yeah,
and you can get videos out earlier, and then guess what? You got access,
and then you'll be on the other side.
Right. It's just they don't understand. It's agenda on both sides on the way it's driven. That's stupid. Okay. Al Rencha, Acolyte and Lucasfilm pissed on Lucas principles of the Force, and apparently Anakin conception being the chosen one is not so special anymore. I can't disagree with the second part of that, but to go back to what John said, let's see how it wraps. Let's see how the show wraps before we make that conclusion.
Right.
But it does take away from the idea that if the Witch Covenant could make this happen, and yet it took Palpatine so long to try to figure it out, and Plagueis and all, like, what were they fighting for? Wasn't the whole idea is that Plagueis was kind of trying to figure out how to maneuver this and Bane's structure? Like, is the story really about Bane and the Sith and how this happened, or was it about the witches? But no, it's very possible that the Sith infiltrated and killed all the witches.
Right.
Which would be, to me, going, oh, okay, wait a minute. Hold on now. Now, maybe you got me. Maybe you got me if you did something like that. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Right. What if it wasn't the Jedi who killed all those witches? What if it was a Sith who had snuck in there and killed all those witches and done those things, and then took the technology, like we see now with the clone technology they've been trying to retro fit into Star Wars ever since the final episode of the sequel trilogy. So yeah, and we don't know. And look, it's again, I say this again, people can be too precious about this stuff. Anakin is not Jesus Christ. And so and by the way, Jesus Christ, there are multiple saviors in multiple religions, in multiple beliefs. And so it's all open. So the uniqueness of Anakin, who, by the way, fucked it all up and became Vader, by the way, is not somehow untouchable. There can be other possible situations that clearly don't work out. She left the Jedi and May became a villain. So clearly this whole idea doesn't work out. So this idea of it being precious or exclusive, I just think is nonsense to be upset about. Because again, we don't really know what the full story is.
I know, I gotta see what the full story is, but I mean, I have to see it before I can make a valid argument.
Yes.
But it is if they make it less special, I'll have an issue with it. I'll be honest.
Bagel, I'm glad I drive you nuts. Nothing makes me happier than me driving you nuts. I can't.
This is why I wanted Video Ninja. This is why I wanted Video Ninja.
But I didn't say anything for an hour and 22 minutes. So give me a break. Like, a lot of people coming after me the whole time in the chat because they do. They love to do it because I do think they're jealous of what I do. And so this idea of like, I love that I drive you nuts. Nothing makes me happier than driving you nuts. Bagel.
Carl.
Yeah, Bagel.
London Calling. Delighted to see Inside Out crushed it at the box office. What is your estimated drop off? Oh, your EST drop off for it this week? Oh, your estimated drop off for what it'll make this week. John, all the best for Euro 2024.
Yeah, thank you.
So what will it make? I mean, what did it make? 153 for the weekend? Is that what?
Yeah, 153, something like that.
I bet you it's. I think it'll make around 70 this weekend.
I think it'll go more than that.
You think so? You think another make 100?
I think it'll be a slight drop off at best.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there's really not. There's not a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Not a lot of competition. So, but I think. So you think it'll make another 100 million?
I think there's nothing until Quiet Place, right? Like we said last week.
But that's not even competition for that.
Right, exactly. I think it's going to clean up like crazy as word of mouth keeps going, and as people want to go and see it with their kids more and more. There's nothing else competing with it.
I'm not pushing back on it. I think maybe not.
30% drop.
Acolyte has a secret Sith. Here is my suspect. Rocha, Tom Cheadle, Caitlin Clark, MacGyver, Roxy, Mike Joyce, Drake, Joy Rogan, or Shaq.
No, I see Shaq as a Sith. Absolutely.
That was good.
You did, bro.
It's true. Very good. Mike Joyce is the Sith Lord. Blake Gilbert coming in hot. The Acolyte is a miss. Might finish it once it's all out on Disney Plus. You see, but that's what I mean. Blake Gilbert comes in, just says not for me.
Yeah,
I see a lot of that, and it's not like a hateful thing. It's not like
totally fine.
No woke comment. It's not. It's just like the show doesn't work for me, and I'm seeing a lot of that. And I agree with you, John. I think it gets overshadowed because if you say you don't like it, it's like, well, why don't you like it?
Right.
Why don't you like it?
What's your problem?
What's your problem with it? Right. Is it? And you're trying to like do the gotcha. It's like,
do you not like gay people? Do you not like people of color?
It's like, no, I just don't like it. It's just not a good show. Right. Here's the next one. Jim 1, have you guys ever visited my hometown, Quebec City? I have not. Have you, John?
No, I've never been to Canada in my entire life.
Oh, I want to go. Go back. There he is. Every time. Butt funnel.
Hey,
get a Mazda. There you go, John. Get a Mazda.
No, I am getting a sorry.
This should be like it's like your Merlot. You can get no Mazda. This Simon section. Wow. House of Dragon season 2 episode 1. They're not playing. And to think, I thought something bad was going to happen to the dog. Also, I need to be excited for Skeleton Crew. That was one of the stories we missed. The story was just basically it was going to be more fun. It was going to be like a Goonies type show, like more of like an Amblin Entertainment type version. I'm curious. I'm optimistic in the idea that John Watts seems pretty excited about it. I thought he directed a really good episode of The Old Man when he started into his show, and I think he does. He knows how to do television. I think he directs, young people pretty well. It's the same thing that I just said to Mike Joyce in my response. I just hope it feels a little bit more like Star Wars, but we'll see.
Good point.
Yeah. Never lose your nerd. Acolyte is good, but not great like most Star Wars. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Beto Power. Hey, I'm out on the show, sadly. Well, Disney. I'm going to cancel Disney Plus until Andor returns. Then good riddance. They need a cleanse top to bottom. Nothing is working. It's fair. I mean, I don't know if nothing is working.
Yeah,
but it's
Mandalorian worked. Andor worked.
Yeah, but so nothing is not. I don't think that's accurate. But I think it is not a majority like it used to be, for sure.
Yeah.
Matt Boyle, now that you're in New York, will you be venturing to New Haven to try some pizza? I think so. I think eventually I will. We're trying to get settled here first and do some stuff. But yeah, I think so. I mean, New Haven is like the spot for some pizza, so I want to check it out.
What's your top place in LA for pizza?
In LA? So I got a few.
Because I was watching Portnoy's and he settled on one. So
he's got a couple, but he likes Apollonia, which Apollonia is pretty good.
He loves Apollonia. You're right.
Apollonia is pretty good. So Apollonia I like. I really like Prime Pizza. It's pretty good. Joe's went down a little bit in quality. Yes. Ellis brought over Pizza Wagon of Brooklyn. Before when we left, that's a good one too. That's close for where you're in San Diego, so I'm not sure about the San Diego.
Yeah, I got to take a look around here.
You should look at if he did any. I don't know if he's done any San Diego spots, but yeah, I mean Portnoy, but those are the ones that stand out in LA for me. We were trying to do some with Frank and I, but that's the other problem. Like, dude, I have from where I am right now, where I'm sitting right now. There are 6 pizza places that I could go to, and 6 of them will be better than all those places that I just told you.
But it's true in LA. You're right. You're 100% right.
And that's within 8 minutes of each other. There's 6 of them, and they're all better than all of Los Angeles pizza. And they're really, really great, but they're probably subpar to some of the stuff in like Brooklyn and in Manhattan and those places too. Anyway,
don't remind me. I miss the East Coast sometimes. Don't remind me.
NLSFC 96. Thank you so much. Acolyte has been fine. But I just miss watching classic Star Wars battles, lightsaber battles. I was watching the Ascension ceremony and told myself, what is this? That was a lot of conversation from a lot of reactions that I saw. People going, what is this? What are we doing here? Yeah.
I didn't like that Ascension. It was like going to a black box theater to see your friend's one-act show, and you're like, oh, God.
You remember that? And that one random lady just screaming wildly in the background. I was like, it was like, stop. Come on. What are we doing?
Come on, stop it.
Come on, let's be honest here. There's no reason to do the screaming and the yelling. We understand. You also use the Force, and so that person uses the Force, and they can use the Force, and everybody in this world, unless they hell in Star Wars, can use the Force. My Whiskey and Lulu, my 2 donkeys, they can use the Force. Anybody can do it. It's fine. And Ryan Johnson set that up, and everybody loved when he did that. And then the mop boy, and he did it. And then Ray didn't know. I don't know who I am. Who am I? I'm nobody. Come on. And he figured it out. And the Palpatine, and nobody was like that either. Some people did. And who knows? Come on. Artem Shakaramina. No way I got that right. Acolyte was advertised as a show about a villain point of view. That's true.
Yes.
And thriller mystery, there is no villain point of view. I've heard that they changed that. I heard originally it was, and they changed it. And mystery in first 15 minutes of Andor than the first. There's more mystery in Andor than first 3 of Acolyte. Agree 100%. Fantastic point. I thought they were trying to sell it as like Andor, and it also that tone, and it didn't work. Dennis Hoffman, box office question is $1 billion worldwide reasonable since China basically brings $0 to U.S. films since COVID? Well, there's been a couple. That they actually have done. Look at recent Apes, 28 million versus War. Now that's a good point, though. I don't know if I guess Apes didn't open in China.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, you're not wrong that it does make an effect, but there are some movies that do get the push. And I think, did Inside Out go to China?
I haven't seen the numbers for that one just yet.
I wonder, but I mean, no, you're not wrong. I think that it is realistic, but it does play a part. There's no doubt about it. Like anytime you hear, well, it's opening in China, every time we've said that, you go, oh, well, it's got a shot now. Every time. All right. So Matthew Brown, Lucasfilm needs a complete and total rebuild because Kathleen Kennedy will only drag the company down even further at the rate they're going. Look, I'm not, as I've mentioned beforehand, as I'm looking at as a sports team, that I think that if you look at, this coach makes the wrong calls, puts the wrong pitcher in, puts the wrong number 4 hitter up, does this, that, and yet they've been with the team for the last 5 years and they should have been gone with the team 2 years ago, right? Yeah. I feel that way about Kathleen Kennedy. But at that point, if that's the case, well, then it ain't just her fault. If she's still there making these decisions and everyone else going, doing it. Oh, Indiana Jones cost how much? 300. We lost how much? Yeah, stick around. Let's see what else we can do. What's that movie? What's that show? Oh, no one likes that one. And it got 15% on. Yeah, stick around. Let's see what we can do. That's your fault at that point.
Yeah. And also, listen, I'm going to tell you guys something. Don't be letting the dude in the cowboy hat get away with it either. Okay. Don't tell me Filoni didn't have some input into into the Acolyte or into these other things, and certainly what we saw in Ahsoka. So I know you all want to go after the creators and the directors. Don't be foolish enough to think that Filoni isn't also dropping in some 2 cents or pushing things in a certain way, and it comes out not good.
He did
because he's trying to throw in his aesthetic into this stuff that's different. I'm of the belief that Filoni is the one who turned this a little more kiddie rather than letting it be darker because he doesn't like Andor. So to me, that's the thing at the end of this. So please don't let Filoni escape criticism. Oh no, people worship at that altar, but
it's so funny.
He makes mistakes.
It's so funny because like if myself today was talking to my 2016 self about like Filoni, because I thought he should be running everything, right?
Yes.
I think it is a major error that he has the position that he has. I think like when you go back and you watch like Ahsoka, and I was talking my friend James, who is again very casual fan. He said, I just finished Ahsoka. He told me this was 2 days ago. Yeah. And he's just like, zombie stormtroopers? And he's like, and there's all this music. What the hell's going on? He's like, this is a terribly written show. I was like, yeah, it's not very well written. It's not very well written. Exactly. Okay. NLFSC 96. I watched House of Dragon. I told myself it's not the main Game of Thrones series, but it feels like the main series with the same investment I feel for characters. I don't know. Yeah, because they're making you care about the characters. They're making you care about the story. And it's smaller than the original Game of Thrones. It's smaller
now.
It's smaller. I mean, there's not as many characters. I mean,
right.
It's not so much to you're really just paying attention to this family drama that's going on, and you're invested. Yeah. Pete Parker 2288. Is it really fair to rate a show before it's finished? There's been shows that have started slow but were amazing by the end. No, it's a great point. And that's what John has said this entire show. It's like you got to see how it finishes up. But I think that, in the same way that I believe John, if the end of it doesn't deliver, you're going to go, well, 100%. I gave it a shot and it just delivered poorly.
Yeah. There's no better example of that than going back and watching my hosting of the last episode of Game of Thrones of season 8. I defended that season 8 step by step. And then when that finale came and it was such a letdown, I went off on that finale because I had defended it and thought they were going to end it in the right way or thought they were going to make it all work. And then they didn't, just like Lost. I love that finale. It has nothing to do with that show. Absolutely nothing. They just basically said, you guessed it in season 1. You were right the whole time. We just dragged it out.
We didn't know. So we just said, hey, just kidding. It actually is about.
I am honest. Damn it. I hate when people accuse me of not being honest. Yeah.
Mallory Garrett, filthy liar. Should TV episodes have trigger warnings beforehand? House of the Dragon last night made me physically ill and it deeply upset me. I wish I was warned.
Wait, what?
let me answer nicely, please.
Sure, you can answer nicely, then I'll take it.
Because you got to understand something, John. You and I are old school.
How dare you?
We are.
I'm in my prime.
I don't know how old Mallory is. I had a conversation with my 12-year-old daughter and my wife last night, and my wife and I are Generation X to the core in the conversation that we're having to my 12-year-old, who is Generation Z, right? Is that what it is? And so such different ways of thinking about things and asking questions. Very much what Mallory just asked is something I'm sure that my oldest would ask a question to. Yeah. My answer to that question, Mallory, is because I'm old school. I would say no, because my answer, the reason why is because this is what the show is. The show has been in House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. You're walking into something that you can get some disturbing stuff that, there was things that happened in that original series that you're like, whoa, I can't believe they went in that direction. You know what it is. And in every corner, something like watch my reaction from the end of last season. I know it's different from what happened at the end of last night's episode. I agree with you. And it's disturbing. But it's what the show is. And I know, my personal opinion is no, I don't think it needs a warning.
I think if it's the first season of a show that's never been out and no one knows anything about it, you can have a conversation about trigger warnings, especially if you're dealing with some really traumatic stuff. And usually they do put
sometimes when it comes to like, look, if there's a school shooting or something like that had happened and it was recent, yes, I do think that it's necessary to do things like that. But sometimes no, I don't. You
have 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. So at some point you have to take responsibility as a viewer yourself to do a little bit of research before you try out a show like this and find out how deep they go, because it's like going Handmaid's Tale and going like after the 4th season they need to give me trigger warnings. You know what's happening on Handmaid's Tale, and so I understand where you come from, Mallory, but I'm always a personal responsibility thing. If you You have to do your research before you jump into things.
Yep. All right, Blake, here we go. Did you guys see USC announce they have dropped to the tuition fee for the 3 master program for dramatic acting and writing programs? I have a BA in screenwriting. Is it worth it to attend USC to network? Some advice would help. USC, I mean, look, my father-in-law taught there for 30 plus years. It's a phenomenal school. I mean, they've dropped the tuition fee for their, I mean,
someone came in, I think someone came in, a donor, or they just decided to do this, but yes, they've dropped a tuition fee for all who are already in the program. That's people who are already in the program. I don't know if they're going to extend it to people who are coming into the program, but for right now, that's what they're doing for the people already in the program. And yes, absolutely. Why wouldn't you want to network at USC? If you can afford it and you get in and maybe you qualify for that allowance, then yes, absolutely go and apply, because there's a lot of people from USC who work in the business, So
yeah. Okay.
But they might find your YouTube channel and not want to work with you if you talk shit. So
it's true.
Put that on your head.
It's true. All right. So let's again, a lot of questions here too. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support here today. Yes, boy. Gentlemen, if y'all were given the pen, how and when would you book Drew versus Punk? I think it's a mania worthy. So do we wait? Thoughts on Who Killed WCW? I didn't see that. And John might have seen Who Killed WCW. I didn't see it yet. But as far as Punk, no, I wouldn't wait all the way until WrestleMania. You got two. I mean,
what's left?
Well, I mean, you got SummerSlam right around the corner. I mean, is he going to be ready by SummerSlam? What?
Survivor Series is coming. Yeah,
right. Is Punk going to be ready by SummerSlam?
I mean, you drag this out until he's 100% ready, and not just like the next day. I mean, you got to have an extended amount of time.
What I would do if you're going to do that, you have them do something. If you can get them to fight at SummerSlam, and it's like that old Hogan versus Michaels thing that never happened, that John loves so much. But if you had that original plan go down, what was supposed to happen was Michaels gets one, Hogan gets one. I forget Hogan was supposed to close it out. If you do something like that, where you have Punk, and Drew battle in the first one in SummerSlam, maybe Drew takes the first one, then Punk takes the second one, then somehow, one of them, I would assume Drew, finally wins the heavyweight championship, and then they fight at Mania for the title. Then it's worth stretching it out for that long. But stretching it out to not have them fight for that long, I don't know if they can make you care for them. They got to fight at least once or twice.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think to make it to Mania is such a long time, but I also think you might lose the juice. And so you've got to have something happen. And maybe you go old school with this, where there are multiple matches, not every pay-per-view, but maybe you start at SummerSlam and it's a controversial finish, because you've got to Drew McIntyre, make McIntyre the babyface. That's what you're doing here. Is McIntyre's going to turn into the babyface? They booed the hell out of CM Punk at Clash of the Castle.
Yeah, well, but that it's Scotland.
I know. But you play it that way, and because the fans are going to come have this, and people are enjoying what Punk is doing here with McIntyre, and McIntyre is playing it so well that eventually you're going to make the turn, and that's what Punk is doing, is putting this guy over. And this is, by the way, career rehabilitation by Punk, doing this with McIntyre.
Yeah, agreed.
He will eventually lose in a brutal way.
Yeah, I think they're both.
Fair. Yeah.
Drew McIntyre has become a major, it turned me around tremendously, because I was at one point like, if he leaves, who cares? But now it's like, you can't lose this guy.
Yeah, you can't lose this guy. Yeah.
Jesus Fernandez, regarding the Acolyte, I do think critics don't care about the lore, and it is the main complaint from fans, hence the mixed reactions. I think that's a portion. I think that's a
fair point.
It's a very fair point. I think there comes some people who are just watching it. I think that's a very valid point. Like, if you get sent these links and you're not a big Star Wars fan, you don't give a crap about the lore, and you don't know what's happening whatsoever. Right. You're just judging it at one point. What do you care about that type of stuff? So I think it's a point we didn't even look at. I think it's a great point.
It is, but I also think that's been a point that's been consistent throughout. You think Siskel and Ebert knew what the lore was of Star Wars going into the sequel trilogy? No. So the other critics don't really care about the lore, but I think the point is still valid in that caring about the lore helps you to really fully analyze a deep dive on reviewing a show like this. So I think it is important to know the lore.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Next one. This is Cowboys fan 92. Sup, John? Hey, you see Inside Out's box office. See my estimate for its timeline, cracking 13 million before week 4, like I called, and the hot mic was close.
I don't know what that means. 13 million before week 4. It broke 13 million before the second day. I don't know.
30 million, maybe. I think he
maybe 130 million.
I think he meant 130 million before week 4. Yeah. So I think so.
Totally broke it.
Yeah.
Well, 3 weeks early.
3 weeks early. Al Rencha, I thought episode 3 was the worst of the season. Fair enough. Also, I think Acolyte is the second worst thing Lucasfilm has done, and only better than Book of Boba Fett. I have to gonna steal John's thing. I've got to see the whole season before I can make that, because I enjoyed, and I have to sit on things too, because I enjoyed Ahsoka more watching it when it was on than I did when I sat on it and it marinated. And I realized that's bad acting. I mean, bad writing. Sorry. Like, why is Sabine acting like she's 17 when she's 35 years old? Why is, all these things? They started asking all these questions later on. There were like a couple episodes that I thought were pretty good, but you start sitting on it going, why is that? I just showed Mike and Steph. Have you seen the Benny Hill scene from with the music from Obi-Wan, John?
With the music?
Oh,
no.
God, I got to send it to you. It is the best. It's the Leia scene when she runs away from Flea and everybody.
Oh, God.
They put Benny Hill music and they put like sound effects, and when there's like bonking of the heads into the trees, like, and it's like, and it's like, and it is hilarious. But the fact that it's also sad because it fits so well. It's not edited really at all.
Yeah.
So anyway,
they just need to decide what they are. The mixture of tones is too much.
I think, and there's no world it'll ever happen. I hope that Disney sells Star Wars to Apple. I hope that it happens.
Ooh.
It won't, but I hope that it does. Right. Okay, this is Swayze. Blade has been a fail. Just get Wesley Snipes. I think that what we talked about on Capes and Cows at this point.
Yeah.
You give Mahershala Ali, and it's not him. You say, look, let's try this out for another year. Let's see if this works out. And if not, we'll give Mahershala Ali a better role or another role in the MCU, give him somebody else, and then we'll just reboot and do Blade in like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
I mean, because it's like what are we doing with this? It's like it's just jinxed.
Yeah.
Josh Needle, I've been a diehard Star Wars fan all my life and have at least mildly enjoyed most movies, TV shows. Used to love watching and engaging with the fan base, but I can't anymore. It's either everything is perfect or everything is trash. Yeah, I'm with you, Josh. I feel that it's exhausting, and it very much so, because like I said, it feels very similar to if you sat certain people down in those two camps that you sat down that you just mentioned, you put them at a dinner table at Thanksgiving. What's the difference with somebody bringing up politics in the middle of a Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
it really is. It's the same damn thing.
And neither one of them, and that's the frustrating part, is neither side wants to like give in a little bit. Like I saw someone bad faith posting, just because you don't like Star Wars doesn't mean you're a racist bigot. No, but the people who say that stuff, it does mean they're a racist, bigot, and homophobic when they specifically point out those things as reasons for not liking it. So,
when you start bringing that as the number one reason, like it's, oh, look at this, they're doing this and that. Like if that's the only reason you hate it, it's like why isn't it bothering you so much, right? But I still also think that there are times, and I've said, and people push back on me when I said this. I think there was a bit of a forced casting in this show, with one particular character. I do.
In Acolyte?
In Acolyte, I do. I think Yord, to me, I think was a bit forced, and people didn't agree with it. But I think that everybody else has been cast pretty well. But people go, no. What do you mean? What do you mean? And I just thought I did. And I think sometimes that happens. And I think sometimes it happens and it's not Star Wars, it's everything. I think sometimes, and I think there's sometimes when you cast and people who just put their hands up and go, why does it have to be a black person? He's like, because he's fucking great in the role. And it's perfectly cast, and it fit beautifully, and it worked well. And then there's other times where you're just like, well, they didn't want to get screamed at on Twitter, and that's why they did what they did. Yeah. But I think it happens all over the place. Day Nat Man, can we stop using flashback storytelling in Star Wars? I did in episode 3 and would have liked it to have been the first episode. Yeah, I mean, you could have done that very much so. And I guess they wanted the whole Carrie-Anne Moss thing. To me, is another thing that stinks to high heaven, to be honest with you.
But is it a flashback episode? Because no one's flashing back. It's basically starting the episode. Now you can argue that it's Osha's point of view, so it's her flashback possibly. But we start 16 years on Brendok and we end on Brendok. We do not go back to to the regular
by definition of what a flashback is. No, it's not. But it is still like a. But his point is, if you wanted to, you could have opened with that.
Yes, I think that's their mistake. I think
you could have, but there was also to me something of like, well, you set up these characters like, oh, we keep telling you about this. Here's how it all went down. Yeah. So I don't know. Liam O'Toole. I hate that. I just don't care about the Acolyte. I turned it off after episode 3 to watch The Boys instead. House of the Dragon, The Boys, The Bear, vastly superior. I agree with all that. And then that's what I think is I think that's where I really, John, I'm telling you that percentage, I think, are people like Liam that are going, I wanted to love this show.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
It's because, again, look at House of the Dragon, The Boys. That's more mature adult storytelling.
Yeah.
I think Leslie wanted to tell a more mature adult story with The Acolyte, but I think the powers that be at Star Wars are like, no, you got to make it kiddie, you got to make it young adult, you got to make it teeny. And that's where we're getting the issue with this show. I think this show was a much darker show in its conception. As you said earlier, they changed the point of view. They weren't gutsy enough to be like, let's tell this all from the Sith point of view. I think that would have been awesome, but they were too afraid to mess up the fandom. And now they've got this mess, you know?
Yeah. J.S. Hooper. There is an interracial lesbian couple in Andor, and nobody cared. His adopted parents are a black, white, interracial couple, and nobody cared. The show is awesome and a hit with fans of all ideological views. Not a bad point.
It's not a hit with fans. There are a lot of fans that don't like Andor. A lot of
but overall majority, it's a hit with fans. With majority, there are a lot of people, a lot of the Star Wars hardcores that are like, it's boring. It's this. Yeah, there's a lot of that. But the majority, when you look at that, you will see a majority of people think the writing of that show is the best thing since like Empire Strikes Back.
I agree, but remember their views were down on Andor. People weren't watching. They had to go put it on an ABC to get people interested, and then it won the
sure.
But it's an excellent point. But the couple isn't a big deal in that show, and it's clearly a big deal in this show, and that's
but they didn't make a big. But his point is that they didn't make a big stink about it the way they did do, because it was like it just seems more like, hey, look. As opposed to this is just this is who these people are in Andor. So I don't know. Al Renshaw, writing is bad. Most of the characters are not interesting except for Sol. And I felt we were promised series focused on the Sith, but not what we got. I agree with that at the end there, very much so. Is that at one point it was my most highly anticipated series, because I thought it was going to be like, oh, are they going to finally show the workings of Bane and how Bane infiltrated and set up this whole thing that eventually led to Plagueis, that eventually led to Palpatine, eventually so the corruption of it all. Yeah. And they missed it. They just missed the mark of it. And I think that goes back to the lore thing. Yeah.
See, here's the point. Look, Rocha's full of shit. People who watched it. No, I'm just saying as a point. People who watched it loved Andor. But the comment above it is, I found Andor boring. So people did watch it and didn't like it. So you saying that unequivocally everybody who watched it loved it is bullshit.
I don't think everybody loved it.
I'm saying for the comment, not you. I'm saying
I think to me it goes to majority. That's what I look at, because
I agree. Majority of people who watch
majority. I think majority.
You and I are both in that camp. We love Andor, which all of Star Wars.
I love it. I love that show. Thunderwolf. The Acolyte is bad, but those user reviews are mostly bots made by racists and homophobes. I don't disagree that there's a lot of that in there. If the show was about white men, nobody would have cared. I don't know about that.
Well, because they came after a lot of people have come after the Kenobi series, and that was about two white men. And yes, you had Moses Ingram, but it was very much called Kenobi. So
yeah. And I mean, I don't know about that. Abe just puts in $2. Thanks, Abe. Appreciate it. Let's see. So, and again, I know that we've got a longer show, John, here, so I appreciate you sticking around. It's just we have a lot of generous people here today asking a lot of questions, and because of our muted mishap in the beginning there, so we had
people. Wow,
I know, got like 10 minutes. So I got I'm gonna owe John here for sticking around a little longer. Daniel Breen. New Spider-Man animated show is going to premiere in November. Daredevil and Kingpin to show up. Are you excited for this after X-Men 97? I am. I think that maybe, it's one of those things that maybe Marvel's got a lock on their animated, and that's going to start to do a little bit more of a turn into a change into, I mean, look at what Pixar turned themselves around, right? Inside Out. John is 100% right. I think it was more old school. Maybe they go a little bit more old school MCU now. What do you think, John, about the new animated?
Yeah, I think so. I think they saw the way forward. I mean, it's quizzical again because the Bo DeMeo situation, You can't remove that from the whole project. So can someone come in who's going to write that kind of stellar writing for this Spider-Man series? We'll have to wait and see, but I'm excited. I like that they're going down this path. And for anybody who's interested, I'm negotiating having a conversation with Lenore Zan, who voiced Rogue from X-Men 97, to come up on my channel down the road here. So look for that. So, because I really love that series. And so if we can make that happen, it would be awesome. But yes, let's go forward with this approach to the animated stuff, because I loved it.
Renee Reyes. The Acolyte does not feel like Star Wars. It feels like Leslie Headland is shoving her political and woke down our throats. I'm just trying to watch Star Wars. I quit like AJ Styles. But look, so the beginning side of that, this is where we run into it, right? Acolyte, I agree with Acolyte does not feel like Star Wars in the way that we know it. Okay. It feels like Leslie Headland, to me, when I'm going to finish and rewrite it on my side, I feel like she's making the Star Wars that she wants to make, is what I will say. And I think that's easy. I think it's too lazy and too easy to scream out the woke thing and the shield thing. It's just too. It's like Eminem in 8 Mile, when he knows everything that Papa Doc's going to say at the end, and he's just like, okay, here we go. I'm gonna give you everything you're going to say, because it's just so old.
Yeah.
But I think that it's okay to say, and fair to say, and I got pushed back on it too. I think Leslie Headland is making the Star Wars that she wants to make, and I don't think she's following the Star Wars of. She can say that she is, but she's aiming it at one side of the fandom. And as I said in the beginning, I personally think for $180 million, it's a mistake.
Yeah,
but it's up to them. I'm not making the business decisions. I ain't writing the checks. I'm not the one who's going, okay, well, hey, look, we got to answer to investors here. But that's what it is. But the political and woke views and all that stuff, I leave that to other people to say.
Yeah, and you and I are different in that, because I don't think she is making the Star Wars she wanted to make. I think she's making the Star Wars that she had to negotiate with Filoni and the rest of the people over there at Star Wars to make. This is not Leslie's full vision.
Do you know
I
that?
will stand by that.
You know that for a fact, or do you?
Well, I know that about as much as a fact as people who say that it's absolutely Leslie's visions.
Well, no. The reason I asked you, because you and Jeff do hot mic. You and Jeff do hot mic, and you have some insight sometimes. So I was wondering if it was anything that you had heard.
I can't. Okay. I can't say that, but I can say from what I've heard.
You hear things. Things.
Let's just say that.
You hear things. Okay.
I've heard this is not Leslie's full vision for the show.
Okay.
It was a much darker vision for the show, and that things were changed to make it much more appealing to the young adult fans, so to speak. And I think that's what you're seeing. So it's unfair that Leslie's getting all this crap when so many people don't want to sacrifice their sacred cows of Filoni or anybody else, because they don't want to believe that anybody else, as if Leslie could just rule over the series and do it all herself without having to answer to Kathleen and other people. And so I wish, and I hate that they sign NDAs. I'd love all the emails to come out. Let's find out for real who did what, because it's unfair that she gets to take all the hits and Filoni sits back with his legs up on the desk, smoking a cigar, having fun. Like, other people should take hits for this thing not doing well, and the truth should be out there. And it's frustrating that it's not.
Fair enough. Future millionaire. Sup, fellas? Congrats on the move. I know you have a full squad already, but please, if the space allows, please get Chris Carr on whenever you can. I just had an email exchange with Chris 2 days ago. She sent me a wonderfully nice email. I love Chris Carr. I think she's a wonderful human being. And she just was, wishing me luck and other things too. And I told her inside of my email, without her, she didn't ask. Whenever I find the time to get her on, I will. So absolutely. Screwface John coming in. Kristian got faded up. New York got my boy swagged up. That's right, man. Listen, this is Mac Weldon. I'm wearing Mac. I don't even have him on today. I love Mac Weldon. I told you.
Talking about your hair. Talking about your hair faded up.
Well, I'm just not wearing a hat.
Faded up.
I'm not wearing a hat.
Yeah.
All right. Nick Alexander, have you guys watched The Boys season 4, episode 1 through 3 yet? Kristian, I have not yet. You got to remember, and I'll tell you why in a second. Always enjoy the Geek Buddies reviews. My goal was to be able to watch. I think because the boys actually are doing week to week, so I'm going to try to do 1 through 3 a review, and then I'm going to start watching them, try to do reactions to them, because the move just, I was going to do House of the Dragon reaction. I'm just all over the place right now, and I just got into the studio today. I'm going to try to record a few other things before I finish this show today. I got in, my goal was to get in early this morning so John and I could start right on time. But John's been very generous with his time today. So but I will do The Boys once I get a chance to do it. But I can't wait. You like it, right, John?
I do. We're loving it. Yeah, I've done reactions for the first 2 episodes that are out now on my channel. The third one's coming out tomorrow. And I did a House of the Dragon reaction, which will be out either later on today or tomorrow as well. But The Boys has been so much fun. And I see some critics being like, do we need this stuff in our world anymore? And I'm like, yo, man, cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. Grow some stones and cut it out.
100%. Simon section. Loving the pictures in the background, Kristian. Thank you. I was gonna do the right thing and ask you, why aren't there any pictures of black people? I just see Carl Weathers. That's right. That's right. Look, where is he?
I already took care of that. Don't worry about it.
That's right. Yeah, he is in the back, and he's punching Rocky right in the grill. So I got, and he's not getting punched. He's punching Rocky. So there you go.
We ain't gonna shop me. Let's put some black people on the wall there, Kristian. Put some black people.
You can't see, John, in the bottom left here. You can barely see it right there.
But
we're all savages. Randy Savage jumping off the.
It's really
good. Oh yeah, Rocha coming in. Everybody loves Rocha. All right, let's see.
He always rises to the top.
I saw a great interview clip with him and Mean Gene,
bruh,
and they were going after each other, but like busting each other's balls. So good.
Have you seen the Mean Gene? What do you call it? Clips. What do they call it when they make the mistakes again? I keep forgetting the
bloopers.
The bloopers, yeah, the Mean Gene bloopers. Those are worth the price of admission.
I remember watching it live. I remember watching it live on SummerSlam when the spine fell in the background. He goes, "Fuck it." So good. Galagos, hey fellas, just sending support. Welcome to East. Thank you, my man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, everybody's been super. I mean, what a great stream. At one point, we had like 1,500 people in here watching live. And by the way, you're still in here. There's over 1,000 people in here right now watching.
Jesus.
Hit the click button, will you? I mean, the click button, the like button. Furiosa got 100 million in tax credits from Australia. Oh, how about that? There you go.
That's nice.
My choice. Well, I mean, that's a little bit of a
make up the profit.
Yeah, for sure. Mad Sinister McCall, favorite fast food and why? Mine is Burger King. It's pizza. It's always pizza. But In-N-Out, if pizza doesn't count, In-N-Out was really good in LA. It's one of the fast food places that I'll actually miss.
I guess fast food, it's McDonald's, but like, because I put Chipotle and In-N-Out and The Habit in a separate category.
Oh, you do? What?
Fast food, taste wise, Wendy's, but there's just something a comfort level about McDonald's that I always go back to. Yeah.
All right. That's the next one. Levi R. How much money does Disney have to lose before they realize you can't double down on your own personal views if you're running a business when the majority of your audience isn't interested? I mean, that's what we are talking about, right? And I think it's a more of, and I want to make it very clear that it is, if you want to, whatever your political views might be, if you want to make movies and shows that are playing to your political side, I don't think that it's something that people should say, you can't do that.
Right.
I think that it is something, though, as a business decision, that you have to understand exactly what Levi just said. $180 million, you're aiming towards everyone. And inside of that, you're going to have a majority of people who don't agree with those particular things that you're putting out there. So you have to be wary of it. And you have to also be understanding of it. So,
but I also think the question is incorrect in saying a majority. You don't know that a majority of the people don't like it. You're just a majority and your bubble doesn't like it. That's and there's fair. A difference in that.
That's fair.
And I also think, look, Andor, someone just got over defending having the lesbian relationship in Andor. So clearly you can have certain political points of view, as long as I think at the end of the day, strip all that nonsense away. It's about quality. If you make good work, it doesn't matter what your political point of view is.
John, but the thing is, yes, but also if it feels like, in using the Andor example, if it feels like it's part of the world.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's good work. Organic is good work.
Right.
Yes. Shoved in, done to check a box. That is not good work.
I think that's what he meant, Levi. Movie Fanobi, congratulations on New York Move and the first show. The Roxy show was nice. Thanks. Yeah, I was so happy with the fact that people tuned into that one and checked it out. I was excited to have it on there, and Roxy's excited to do the show this week. So we'll see how that.
What are you doing with the Rox? What are you gonna do?
She came on the show we just did our last LA show together, and I just titled it our last LA show together. And it's funny because I'm doing my first New York live show with Dan Murrell. I'm going to be in person with Dan. If you guys want to see the tickets, the link's in the description. It's this Friday. There's like 30 seats left. That's it. Wow. There's only 30 seats left, and it should go. But there's kind of a mix and matching going to see one of my old LA friends who doesn't live in LA now. He lives in a completely different state. It's interesting.
I should crash that show.
You should. Jim One, interesting situation. And
I deserve to be on that stage too, you sacks of crap. Bring out the trivia.
Right. And we're both flying each other. Well, I'm not flying myself down anymore, which is amazing. I don't have to fly anything. Just driving or training it. Interesting situation, House of the Dragon. The Hightowers, who are from the Reach support Aegon, but his region is ruled by House Tyrell, who have not yet declared. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see how this. I'm so politically the way that the politics in that show is like that to me is like, yeah, where are we going? Who's doing what? Oh wait, is that guy going to sign on? Is that guy going to screw him over? That guy's trying to do that. That it is the Game of Thrones. It really is. Yeah. Ingrid Plaza. Challengers is the movie I have seen the most in theaters this year, 4 times. The score is intoxicating. What movie have you seen the most in theaters this year? It's hard for me to see. I've only seen things one this year. I did watch Dune 2 again on the plane though, which was great to watch again. I was wondering when I watched it, I was like, okay, here's my challenge because I've already seen it on the big screen.
Yeah.
My challenge is going to be, is it as great as I think it is? And if it is as great, even on a little tiny screen, is it great? And the answer is yes. It's my number 1 movie, easily.
I think sadly, I have to agree with you. I was looking at the release calendar, maybe seeing if I could pick something else, but no, I've seen Dune 2 3 times in the theaters.
Yeah.
So I would say Dune 2. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Inside Out's up there too, man. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Garth Archie, just want to thank you guys for a great show and always trying to promote folks being kind and classy online. Thank you, Archie. Kudos and best wishes to you and yours. Thanks, Archie. Very kind of you. Thank you, my friend. That's very
regardless of some of the chat. Thank you, Archie.
Yes. I mean, the majority of the chat's been pretty great today.
Yes, true.
Simon section, over or under 40 that the makers of Shōgun will make a live action series based on the life of how does he pronounce that?
Yasuke.
Yasuke. Or are the people just happy with Blue Eyed Samurai? John, are you enjoying the Assassin's Creed?
So I started Blue Eyed Samurai last week. It is excellent. All of you who encouraged me to watch it, you are all right. It's absolutely my kind of entertainment because I love samurai stuff that's done well. So I'm finishing it up probably in the next couple of days. Loving it. The Yasuke stuff will be a little interesting if they were to do a prequel series for Yasuke, considering what happens. Would people be into that necessarily? Depends on how far back you go and if you can get that actor back to play him. Sure, I'm down with that. The Assassin's Creed, I didn't know that it was out already. If it's out already, the samurai version of Assassin's Creed, I'm going to go get it for sure.
Okay. So next one. This is from Pete Parker. Kevin Smith recently said he doesn't care about Star Wars outside of the Skywalkers. Do you think there's a lot of people like that? Maybe. I actually hear a lot, and I don't know, it could just be the bubble that I'm in. I actually hear people saying they want to be outside of the Skywalkers and learn a little bit more about the lore. And that was one of the things I was so excited about, was the idea of, they were going to put this thing 100 years before and they were going to show what it was like. And it's a young adult novel. And that's just not what I wanted. But it had nothing to do with the time period itself. The time period is what I want to learn more about and less about like the young adult stuff. Wayne Denny, excuse me. Productionlist.com has a link up for episode 10, A New Beginning for London crew members. Shooting September 2024. Says about Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order. I wonder if they're going to title it episode 10. You think that they will to get more people in there? You think they're going to change their mind?
I think it's more of what happens after the episode 10. Like, what is going to be that title? Because I think that's the title that people are going to be like, fuck this, or yes, I'm on board. So that's going to be interesting to see what it says. But I would not be surprised. How can it not be episode 10? It's a continuing story. Rey took it over at the end of episode 9. So it makes sense to go with her in episode 10.
This is for you because I wanted to add, I'm glad that this person brought this up because I was going to ask you about this and I forgot about it.
All right.
Haskell. Hey guys, Jordan Peele just tweeted 10/23/26 with the Blade talk. Could it be he signed on for it? Gives plenty of times to fix the script, cast previous commitments and production. He's coming on Friday too, Haskell. So tell me what you know about this Jordan Peele thing.
Look, it was something I tweeted out. And I've been told by a couple of people who work at Marvel that no way, it's not going to happen. But I've also heard from those people to say that nothing's going to happen, and then something happens that I thought was going to happen. So we'll see what it means. I would love it if that's the truth, but I have a feeling that with the unsteadiness of Blade right now, this is alluding to something else. That being said, I'd be incredibly happy if I was proven right that Jordan Peele is the right person to take over Blade and bring it back home, and that the meeting with Marvel went really well for the X-Men stuff. They just didn't think X-Men was going to work with them, but Blade, that's how you get Mahershala Ali to stay on the project.
Yeah,
you bring someone like Jordan Peele. I also pitched Spike Lee as a possibility. It would have been either one of those two doing it is how you keep Mahershala Ali excited.
It's interesting. Ewok, a UAP movie question. Have you guys seen the mid-90s TV movie about the Roswell incident starring Kyle MacLachlan? It's actually pretty decent and treats the subject matter respectfully. We're checking out. Good to know. I know I didn't know about it. I did see that the Spielberg's UAP movie just cast Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
That's a big move. I wonder what they're going to do there. But no, I have to check that one out. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the next one here from Miguel Nuva.
Yeah.
I see the witches making the twins closer to mortal copy gods, whereas Anakin is a genuine article. The Force made him on its own. Maybe. I mean, look, that's the thing, is that you gotta see how it pans out. You gotta see how it pans out. I know. Ryan, Acolyte is sitting at critics 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Wire is at 94%. Are you seriously expecting us to believe that Acolyte is a mere 10 percentage points from The Wire? So Ryan, this is what I'm telling you again, man. So I think that John made excellent points before. No, but John, I'm going to actually go to what you said before, which I think that part of it is potentially that people said, I want to support this show, so I'm giving it a good review. And that's positive. But the other side of it is, remember how Rotten Tomatoes works. The question is, do these critics think it's over a 3? It does. The Wire, let's say that 94% of that score is people who gave it a 5 out of 5. Right? Let's just say that. And let's say that the 84% of Acolyte is that 84% thought it was a 3.1. That's how you get those scores. It's not a matter of the comparison. It's just it's why Rotten Tomatoes scores are a little weird and kind of.
That's why I think that question is ridiculous, because it's not the same reviewers from back then on The Wire. By the way, more people have seen The Acolyte than saw The Wire when it came out. Let's tell the truth. So the idea of like comparing the 84 or 94% from The Wire back then to the 84% now, it's not the same critics at all. There are way more critics now, way more of these people who have their own intentions than the critics who were back then. And so it's just a different situation. So to compare the numbers and be like, are you telling me it's not the same thing at all, man? Yeah. Like comparing Montana to Brady. It's two different eras of quarterbacks. You can't compare them.
ZHR1234. John, stay away from Kias. They're still prone to being stolen. I'm speaking from experience.
I don't know a car that isn't prone to being stolen, other than maybe Teslas.
J.S. Hooper. The Mortis father, the daughter, and the son all acknowledged how special Anakin was. Leslie Headland has completely undermined that and replaced her with their own ideological vision. We don't know yet. I'm not telling you I'm not going to agree with you down the line that I think it was just a reach, but it's not. You don't know yet. You don't know yet.
I mean, y'all like Anakin's so special. He killed 6 billion people.
No. Don't start shitting on Anakin. Tiberius Monk. Hello, K and J. Yeah, he killed. But John, he did kill 6 billion people, but he didn't blow up the Death Star.
So he didn't blow up the Death Star. And he got redeemed at the end. You were right. No. You were right.
Hello, K and J. The Acolyte isn't for me, but I hold out hope for Star Wars to be great again. Just need a figurehead with vision and direction. I agree. Rogue One and Andor remains the best Disney era Star Wars content for me. I'm with you, man.
You got no argument for me either.
Monk comes in spitting fire once again. Renee Reyes. Anakin did turn into Vader, but he was still the chosen one and brought balance in the end. And the chosen one was a prophecy for thousands of years. I agree with them, man. I'm sorry. So it's pressure.
Wait. Where did he bring balance in the end? By throwing the Emperor?
By throwing the Emperor up?
Oh, I see. So, hey, don't mind that I killed all these people. Right. Guess what? I still got rid of the Empire and I brought balance.
Hey, mistakes are mistakes.
Mistakes.
So it's precious and exclusive. You bagel.
You bagel.
Where is this? We did that. All right, the next one. Pete Barker, chance to react to the full Outlaws gameplay trailer. I think it could be one of the best Star Wars games ever. It's being compared to Uncharted. That one I'm going to have. I think John has said this in the past about other things. That's one I'm going to wait to see how people feel about it, because I didn't like the trailer. The trailer to me seems like every other story that I've seen. Hey, this is a smuggler that isn't really bad, but just fell into the wrong things. And it's like, who cares? If it's a good game though, I'll like John, I'll figure it out and I'll say, all right. Sure. Eric Opperman just donates $4.99. Thanks, bud. Really nice of you. You guys have been super, super supportive today, and Eric Opperman throws in another.
It was Palpatine who did it. It was Palpatine. What's wrong with you?
That's right. It was Palpatine.
John Rocha, otherwise known as John Woka.
The Dark 005. Rocha, who wins this weekend? U.S. versus Bolivia. Score.
Well, you go. I'm going to be firing up the Sports Channel game night to watch these Copa America games, and yes, I think Bolivia loses to the United States, but if they don't, the United States is in trouble. Fire Greg Berhalter immediately, for God's sake. He's a terrible coach. Exactly. Oh, I like Darth Woka. I like that. I'll take that.
Darth Woka. There you go. Perfect.
Oh, happily.
So let's see. I mean, we still. I mean, I
How many left? I'm starving. How many?
I know you are. I know you're, but I haven't. And you know what's going to make your hair fall out? I haven't even checked the starred ones yet. PT German.
I'm going to order a fucking In-N-Out to be delivered. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. If you, because you're staying online, I will order DoorDash to your place.
Oh, cut it out.
I will.
Don't do that. Don't.
I will.
We have different conversation to have. Go ahead.
Right. What is the essence of Star Wars? I am an OG fan and agree with the takes on Andor, the Acolyte, Obi-Wan. So is the core of Star Wars science fiction, is it mythology or the classic character arcs? I think it's all of it in general, man. I think
yes.
Yeah, I think it's all of it in general. And I do think that there's, and I'm telling you, I think Kevin Kiner should be scoring everything. He's the only person who understands you can make your own themes, but throw in the original tones. Ahsoka had little tiny bits of the John Williams themes. Rebels had a lot of it. Clone Wars had a lot of it. But admit with your own thing. Don't just abandon it because you want to be different. It makes no sense. Yeah. Okay. Screwface John, I just want you guys to stay on here longer.
Send me a pizza, Screwface.
For real. Al Rensha, have you seen the right in the butt WOF clip? No, I haven't.
I don't know what that is.
What is that? I'm not sure what that is.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's something that will probably wind up on my
oh no, I'm a hack. I'm a hack now. I'm a hack. Oh my God.
Tiberius Monk. Hello again. What out of the box ideas would you like to see to make the theater experience great again? Keep up the great work, Kristian and John. I think the easy one is just lower ticket prices.
Red hats. Yeah, listen, we're done. I'm going to keep going, but just now all the limits, all the walls are down. So you're going to get authentic Outlaw Rocha now. But
why are you looking at the chat? Stay out of the chat. Stay out of the chat. This is why I had you on. No, this is why I had you on Video Ninja, because I don't want you looking at the chat, because you're going to lose your freaking mind. You can't look the same way.
I'm saying because I'm tired, not because of the comments. I'm saying because I'm hungry and I'm tired. But here's what I say. I agree with you about lowering the ticket prices, but I also think, listen, I think we've lost the etiquette, and we're falling apart in the theater situation. Like I was reading someone's tweet this weekend about a critics screening where critics were on their phones during a movie at a critic screening. They were recording the first few minutes. Now that we've allowed influencers to be part of the critics organizations, it has become a problem in terms of being able to go at these critic screenings. So people don't have respect for. So it's not about theaters can clean up all they want. When you go to the theater and human beings are disrespecting the experience, what do you do about that? So that's the real problem. It's not just theaters and the prices and cleaning up the theaters. It's about human beings who actually walk through the doors. Are they going to respect the experience? And I don't think they do for the most part anymore.
Eric Krempa, a positive Star Wars story. I was the guy at Schmodown Orlando that gave you guys and Ellis the Chance Cube. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I remember it was an amazing night. And a shout out to Rocha and Merle for bringing the house down. That was my brother was like, after you gave like a really good promo, my brother was like, Rocha was on fire that night.
It was a good night. Dan was a very big part of me getting in the. I'll tell you that is the one program I watch from beginning to end in terms of like our coming out, our promos, their promos, the match, and then the ending. I've watched that more than any other match that I've ever had in the Schmodown.
Great. And we found Jader that night too, which was awesome. Jader was the coolest, man. Jader was one of my favorite people. I love Jader. Jader was such a nice guy. Such a good guy. K-Dog Westmore. Got to give credit. Acolyte's fight scenes are epic. There's some pretty good fight scenes. Yeah, for sure. Artem Shakaraman. Didn't Reddit already spoil that Sith is Queen Mira? Who is that? Is Queen Mira? Is that Manny Quinto?
Chimera, yeah, that's Manny Jacinto.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
did they spoil it?
I don't think they spoiled it as much as I don't think they spoiled it. It's like it hasn't been revealed as far as everything I saw.
Yeah, and we've got 5 episodes to go. And no one has seen the other 4 episodes, so they didn't spoil anything.
Star Wars has devolved to we love everything, people, and we hate everything. Yeah, and the Acolyte critiques and the audience score. I think both sides are voting with the agenda and not just what they see.
Yeah,
100%. I think that's ultimately that's what you said before, John.
I said that earlier. Yeah, so I agree with Screw.
Yep. Levi Ard. Hey, John, I'm not just talking about Star Wars. I'm talking about Disney as a whole. They lost over $1.3 billion in 2023, and I don't think you can cater to the 1%. You have to cater to the 99. That's just my opinion.
What's the 1% you think they're catering to? And do you think Disney hasn't catered to political and activist points of views for like decades in their content.
Is it working right now?
What's the matter with you?
But is it working right now?
Everything in Disney is about everybody is great, everybody's equal, except everybody. That means sexual orientation, that means race, that means creed, that means birthplace, that means social status, economic status, accepting everybody. So if you're going to make certain characters the leads of certain shows, that is still part of the Disney edict since the creation of Disney, for God's sake. So for me, I find that to be what I said, an argument that doesn't have enough weight to it, and it's not 100% true. It all comes back to execution. That's the number one thing. Have all the political views you want. If you execute it well, people aren't going to be bothered by it. Right. And I think that's the truth at the end of the day. So it's not 99 to 1%. That's nonsense.
Jacob Pynchon, loving Dark Matter, my favorite show on TV right now. I love that show.
I gotta see this
show.
Good.
Did you guys see episode 5 and 6 is written by Marvel's written Megan McDonnell? Great episodes, so good. Also, Rocha, I've been loving the Cinephiles.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we just had what the F with Mark Maron's producer.
Oh,
Brendan McDonnell. He came to join us to talk about Total Recall over the next two. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Great. Dark Matter is so good, John. I love it. I absolutely
got to catch up.
Love it. Bit Clarky, please react to Star Wars Theory. Anakin tells Palpatine about the Acolyte Witches skit. This was amazing. So yeah, I mean, look, go ahead, John. I again, as I've told you many times over, it's a matter for me is when I'm reacting to things and usually trailers and other things. That is when people sometimes I'm doing reactions now recently, John, and they're just not doing as well as normally. Look at you shaking out of the way. Yeah,
it's not that good. It's
you read. Where are the black people on John's wall? That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'll show you. Wait, where is it? Damn it.
Exactly.
I'll show you.
Yeah. Philly G, super sticker. Thank you, Philly G. Okay, we're still moving. We got Simon Section. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought John wasn't interested in watching Andor because it was based in the pre-Yavin storyline. Did you say that?
I don't know where you'd come up with that. I've never even uttered the words pre-Yavin storyline in my entire life, so I don't know where you would get that.
All right, so now I think we're actually in good shape, John. I think all the starred ones I actually got to.
Okay, how many we got left?
I think that's it. But let me just. I'm just going to double check and make sure as I'm going through it. But I'm going to make sure. Okay. But I think that I think I got everything.
Okay.
So I'm looking through it. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. But I do, while I do that, John, why don't you tell everybody today what you got going on this week and give a big, nice plug of what's going on your channel.
Listen, if you guys love me, come over to my channel, for God's sakes. Please. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. I know I'm combative. I know I'm outrageous. I know I can be quite irritating for some of you all, but I deliver great content. And I have incredible people like Michael Vogel, Shannon McClung, Jeff Snyder, Laura Kelly, Kevin Smets, all those people coming on my channel. I can't get Kristian on my channel, but maybe someday. But this is the channel to hang out and have some fun and enjoy some really intelligent points of views from a number of people who are really well versed in the things they're talking about. So you'll get a lot out of these conversations on the Geek Buddies, on the Hot Mic, on the Jedi Way, on my reactions, my reviews, and what have you. So, and Steve from the Cinephiles, who occasionally drops in from the Cinephiles, he's fun to have. We just did the Shōgun reviews over those 10 episodes. So there's a lot of content for you all to enjoy, not to mention my other podcasts, the Geek Buddies, the Cinephiles, and the Hot Mic that are all there for y'all to subscribe. But youtube.com/John Rocha says, come and take a chance. Trust me. Just come at least hate watch me if you don't like me. So come and join.
All right. So
thank you, guys.
I do think that we actually made it all the
way.
It? Yeah. So all right, I'm gonna let John run. John's got to eat.
I love you guys. I got to eat.
Thank you, John. Peace. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I mean, really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, because not only did we have at one point almost like 1,500 people watching live for the first show that we're doing from the New York studio, not only did you guys just pour in with questions, I think a few of you got some of the sponsors. Like that's the one that makes me sweat sometimes, because I try to only take sponsors in here that I think you guys are going to like. And when you get them, I'm not lying to you. Like it really helps the show, like tremendously, keeps us on the air. So find something that we had today, get yourself something. But that's it. We did it. We did a show here from New York. Thank you for the positives. The thing is, I'm trying to do, I told you I was going to put the Empire Strikes Back there. I got Braveheart, I got George Carlin, I got Eternal Sunshine of Spotless Mind, I got Rocky, I got this one. I'll have more story about that down the line about why that's so important to me, but we'll discuss. Anyway, thanks for joining. I really, really, really care about you guys. I really do. And that's why I want to build these things out in the way that we have continued to evolve this thing. We're going to do more stuff. We're going to have, I'll get that program working. Thanks for sticking around for the sound stuff. But Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that podcasts are found. Thanks for joining us here today. Thank you to John Rocha. Thank you to you guys. We'll see you on the flip side. Oh, reminder, if people watch UAP Tuesday, we're doing our first one on the Down to Earth with Kristian Harloff channel tomorrow. I'm probably going to do a live stream by myself tomorrow until we build it. This is eventually, I think that when we build out this portion, that side of it is still a little empty. But when I build it out for a second and a third chair, that's when we're going to start doing an in-studio show here on this channel. But UAP Tuesday will now be on the Down to Earth with Kristian Harloff channel. So if you're there for this, for this show, make sure you head on over there. All right. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you very much. And we'll see you on the flip side. Thanks again. Bye-bye.